Guys, you won't believe it. Guys, you won't actually believe it right now. Dan, can you guess what's happening right this second? Take one guess, Dan. Oh,
Yeah,
hold on, you're looking. What do you?
I was looking for it.
What? I don't.
I got nothing. What's going on?
Hold on. I just want to know why we have two chats open. We have two chats open right now. We have main channel that is live, and we have a bonus channel that is live at the same.
I don't think my computer can handle this.
What does this mean? What does this mean? Oh God, look at Jesse's mouse. Jesus Christ, Jesse, please. This is NFSW. This is not safe for work right now. Jesse's showing guns and meat pipes fresh on the stream. What is
I mean, if you gotta flaunt it, you know.
Guys, Jesse, Dan, so much is happening today. So much is happening today. We have you guys see it in the title, best JDM cars of all time this week. We have a big discussion ahead of us. And but before we have that, we have another bigger discussion. So chat, hello, welcome to the stream. Main channel, welcome to the stream. Bonus channel, hi everybody that's new, or you might be the same people watching on the other screen. Welcome to Tangents Live, or Tangents, whatever you want to call it. We are live here, chat. Meat pipes in the chat. We're testing a few things today, guys. So we had we did a meeting of everybody that's important, which I don't know how many people we have that are. Well, we're all important at work, right? So we had a meeting of the minds. We had a meeting of the minds the other day, and you guys have spoken and people have listened. And basically what's going to happen is we might continue the live stream. Dan, did you know that?
I think that we definitely should, because it's super fun.
Chad, we may need your help. Do you guys want the live stream to continue? You just let me know. Because the thing is as of today, this very minute right now, we're filming a new show. Hoonigan is filming a new series right now, and nobody knows what it is. Well, we know what it is, but we haven't announced it yet. It's a brand new show. So the nice thing is we are back to shooting real content again. So Hurt, Scotto, Vin, Ron, the entire crew is out filming new content for you guys. And I'll tell you guys, this content that we're shooting, we haven't really shot anything like this before, Dan. And I don't want to give any detail on it, but we haven't shot any new content like this before. So this is all new content, and it's actually, it's brilliant the way that these guys have put it together.
So yeah, the whole time off, I think a whole bunch of new ideas have popped up, and they gave us too much time to think, and now we got all kinds of cool stuff coming out. So,
and not only that, you're getting back on Knuckle Busters, so we're shooting new YouTube content for main channel right now. So the crew is out and about filming. It is so nice to get out there and shoot live, shoot real content again. That's going to be living on. Nads is out there. The whole crew is out filming, and I can't give you any idea what it is. It is going to be an absolutely legendary series. Humor, back to that OG Hoonigan ways. You know, we like to battle, and this is just some of the biggest battles that will be going down. So that's exciting. And so during obviously this whole time with the whole quarantine thing that is going on, streaming. What do we do with streaming? Do we get back to real content, and do we try to keep streaming alive, or do we go back to full force with in all YouTube content? And you guys have spoken not only here in chat, but in Discord. So if you guys are not a part of Discord, please use that. That's our main hub for communication. We're going to try to keep the Hoonigan live stream alive. We may tailor the days. It may not be 5 days a week. It may be 4 days a week. It may be 3 days a week. But it will definitely be a minimum of maybe 2-3+ days a week, which gives more time for live content, more time for development, but also implementing new things like IRL streams, shop tours, race events, pit walks. There's a lot of things that we can start implementing in this live stream that you guys have mentioned in Discord. So we're going to make sure that we're going to do what we can to keep this alive. And for a lot of you guys that have been asking, Wait, why are we live on bonus? And Dan, why are we live on main at the same time? So what may happen, guys, this is something that we're developing, and we're telling you guys, literally, we just had this discussion last night, and the advantage of live streaming, Dan, is we can literally talk about it the next day.
Exactly.
So you guys are getting this first. We will probably be moving the live stream over to bonus channel here in the next month or so. So what may happen is we're doing a test on bonus. So shout out to everybody in bonus. And people are probably going to ask, why are we going to be moving it over to bonus channel? Dude, the cool thing about bonus channel is it has literally all the integrations for live streamings, which can be custom emojis, all the major intricacies that you would see something on like a platform like Twitch. Bonus already has it implemented, so it's definitely a better way for you guys to get involved with the channel a lot more on the whole level of what YouTube offers live stream content. So
not only that, the main channel is going to be blowing up with new content, like we said. So it's going to have a whole bunch of new episodes every day. So the bonus content is just going to be awesome. We're going to be able to shovel everything in there that we want to see, the extra stuff, and also the live stream, which will take us hopefully all over and do some cool stuff.
And then Shinny, the best thing that came out of the pen was Corey brought to the forefront of the hoonigan. Dude, guys, I'll tell you this. Yes, I'm not. It's so funny because a lot of people. I remember when I did my first live stream. Everybody's like, "Oh, what? Hey, who's?" The thing is, I've been with Hoonigan a long time. I just been on the back end of things on Hoonigan, or I've been doing my race program. I can tell you what, guys, I have been so excited and so proud to be a part of the whole Hoonigan live stream, be here live with Dan and Hurt and the crew, which we would do any day anyways. We're either FaceTiming or we're playing video games together, but to be a part of the Hoonigan live stream has been something that I've been very pumped on, and I hope you guys just enjoy a small presence, and hopefully that I've been already talking with the boys back at in Long Beach that maybe we can get more content. I'd love to be doing some stuff with Dan. Hopefully Dan and I can do some project stuff together and Hurting the boys. But just to tell you guys, this whole live stream, and for me, I want to do what I can to keep this live stream alive. It's been a big part of literally every single day for the past 3 months. So I am not looking to go anywhere, and if you guys want me to stay, I am going to stay, and I want to get more in the YouTube content, which it seems like that's what's going to happen. But I just want to say I appreciate you all. I love you all in chat, and we're going to keep this damn thing alive no matter what, but we're going to be bringing you more content, live content. I want shop tours. I want to go to NASCAR pits. I want to go to Leah Pritchett's pit for testing. I want to go see how Kanan filter is made. I want to go off-roading with Dan. I want to go drifting with Hurt. These are all things that we can keep implementing and progressing as things start opening up. So that is why we're live on bonus. We're back to shooting live content, and we're going to keep this alive. So thank you guys all for participating. We appreciate you guys. Real quick, what's up, Jess?
Shout out to Jake Etter, who just had a newborn baby boy.
Damn, Jake!
Oh, Jake!
Congratulations, Jake, dude.
Yeah.
And all the mods in chat. We got to thank our mods, man, because once again, we're getting in a point right now, and we have this debate coming up too, and we might have a special guest coming on. We got to give a shout out to all our moderators in chat. You guys have been sticking around as long as we've been live, so thank you to all the moderators. We're going to be going through some changes over the next 2-3 weeks where we start migrating the stream. I'm reading chat right now, and I'm looking at bonus.
Which
Corey
one?
needs.
What
They said James. I'm in bonus, and James Ennis says Corey needs this job and to get everything paid for by the Hoons. Oh, do you know we do this for pizza and top ramen? Like, what do you think? Hold on.
Wait,
hold
I didn't
on.
get my top ramen this month.
Hold on.
Did you get your top ramen this month?
No, I have not ate in 6 weeks. Jesus, bonus chat. What is happening to bonus chat already? God, Dan, please, bonus, don't turn into old Facebook live chat. Please don't turn.
I'm looking back and forth between chats, and I don't even know which chat I'm looking at.
Dude, I don't
read them all.
No.
Just comments flowing in left and right, and I love it.
No, the thing is, I've been with guys. You need to understand, we've been with Hoonigan for a long time. Nothing has changed or nothing new. This is all because we want to do it. Essentially, when you do shit like this, Dan, it's crazy. Oh boy.
Hey,
good morning, Alexi.
Yeah, good morning.
Oh wait, hold on. There it is. Oh,
there it is.
How you doing, buddy?
Oh, I'm actually already. I'm already on. Okay. Hi, everyone.
We're live, right? We just fired up, so I know it's what time is it? What time is it by you right now?
4:16. 4:16 in the morning.
Did you go through your vocal exercises yet and just try to wake it up? Just
No, I didn't even. I haven't even said a word yet. This is completely raw. It's the first thing I said this morning.
Hold on a second. This is the best day ever. We have talking about JDM cars with Alexi with the sleepy voice. It even sounds more sexual than ever.
let me just.
This is pillow talk with Alexi.
Yeah, let me just adjust my EQ here. Change it.
So, guys, so Alexa, we were just talking about, so we're making some changes. So we're going to continue the Hoonigan live stream on YouTube until YouTube catches on fire and burns up and it goes away forever, which who knows when. So we're going to be keeping the live stream going. And we were talking about moving it over to our Hoonigan bonus channel where it's going to be living on. And the thing is a lot of people asked us too, once again, and this is going to be my introduction to Alexi here. We've always been taking our live content and moving it over to the Facebook. This is another way to keep all our live or recorded content on YouTube. So you guys won't have to navigate off of YouTube to go to Facebook to watch all their videos. With the bonus channel, it can stay up there forever. But also, by doing stuff like this on bonus and continuing this, we can constantly have special guests on. So if Alexi wants to wake up at 3:30 in the morning and always wants to come hang out, Alexi can come hang out on bonus. So it's all the evolutions of what this live stream is turning into. And if you guys know, Alexi has one of the most amazing Twitch channels. He streams on it very regularly. But we love seeing live content from Alexi. And so to have him here with us today to talk shop and to really talk about whatever. I don't care what we talk about. But it is titled The Best JDM Cars of All Time this week. But yeah, so there it is, chat. We just dropped some knowledge. We're back to recording content for main channel. We're continuing live. We're working on dates, and then we have
Alexi, what's your choice of beverage right now? What are you waking up?
This is a can of Wonder morning coffee from the local vending machine. Wonder. Morning shot. There we go. There's focus. Morning shot. It's refreshing. A morning refresh, it says. And it's a good one first thing in the morning. It's not too strong. It's got a lot of sugar in it. Well,
where am I?
I wonder.
And it's only $1 out of the machine just down the road. So I woke up, went outside, walked down the street to the vending machine, put $1 in it, got the thing, came back, sat down, fired this up.
When's the last time you used a vending machine?
Like last Corey.
Yeah, last time I was gonna say Alexi was street walking. Alexi street walked at like 2 or 3 in the morning and didn't get jumped by any type of street animal or human to jump this man. Walk 3 o'clock in the morning, go to a vending machine. Very impressed, Alexi. I have not used a vending machine probably in. I had to put a timestamp on it. Maybe 8 years.
8 years.
Like I've never dude. You go to the airport. It's probably the only time.
That's not true,
dude.
You had to go grab some Nutty Buddies.
I can't remember last time I slipped $1 into a machine and then hit the Sprite button and have a Sprite can pop out. I like when you go to the airport, they have kiosks that you can walk up to and pay and get. I can't remember the last time I used it. And Chad, you can even jump in on this too. When's the last time you guys used a vending machine? Because for me, it was probably 7 years, and I was probably I don't even remember. Everywhere I go,
think of the last thing I grabbed from a vending machine. But I do miss coffees in Japan. The little cans of coffee; those are so clutch. At the racetrack, you can get it warm, cold. If you guys didn't know that, they got preheated coffee for you. It's so nice.
Actually, I'll say I've sort of thought this before. Like, you know, what was my Zen moment in Japan, like when I was like, yes, this is exactly why I came here, and actually most of them involve canned coffee. One of which is I remember going to Nikko Circuit. This is back when I first arrived here, and I literally just bought the JZX 100 that I still have. I drove it to Nikko Circuit, and it was very early in the morning. Nikko is built in an old quarry. So it's got very high, it's surrounded on a couple of sides by a very high sort of rock wall. so it stays in shadow for a long time. So it's very cold. The ground is always frozen, first thing in the morning. And you arrive there to queue up so you can get a good pit, jump out of the car, run up to the vending machine, get yourself a hot coffee out of that, go back to the car and just sit in the car in the passenger seat, tilted back a bit and just sit there, wait until the doors open. That was good. And the other time was also coming back from a spirited mountain drive at 3 a.m. It was summer. It was nice. It was just nice cruising through the mountain roads back home. These little houses and stuff, just gently, just quietly with a little bit of drum and bass going. And I thought, I'll get a drink. So I pull up to just a random machine on the side of the road, jump out, and some of them have a system where you can potentially win another can. Like they'll have a little roulette thing on the LCD, like a little LCD display with a roulette thing. So you press the thing. I got a can of American coffee, it's the actual name of the drink, because it comes in a bigger can, like not like these small ones. It came in like a regular, like a Coke can size one. Bought that, and the little roulette thing went, and it was the first time I'd ever won an extra can. I always thought they were a scam. It'd go like 7775 or something like that. Okay, yeah, whatever. It's a scam to get kids to do it. And I won. Another can came out. I was like, there is nothing wrong with the world right now.
What Alexi did is he cracked both tops open and smashed them together and stone cold them.
It's cool because it's after a spirited drive already. So you've already got the adrenaline going.
Everything, you're coming down off that,
and then boom, another treat for you,
dude. I
remember in the mornings at Ebisu, we would all fight to get to that first machine to see if there was any rainbow coffee left in the hot.
Oh yeah.
And, all the boys would be like, "Who's the first person that's going to get there?" So we could have a good morning in the shop, and whoever got just the Boss Black was kind of like, dang it.
On this,
you gotta have the extra sugar rush.
The sugar in there. Yeah.
On this talk of vending machines, chat was saying some dude asked, "What is a vending machine?" There's some people that have never used a vending machine before. There is a couple months to 2 years to where, yes, people are saying they have them at the work. Understandable, I got this. But one thing that chat said, I can't find the name, but I'm going to elaborate on this a little bit. When you have like beer out of a tap, they always say it tastes better. Why does Mountain Dew out of a vending machine always taste the best? Yeah, dude, I don't get it, but vending machine Mountain Dew always tastes 10 out of 10, dude. Every single time.
It's crazy. It's like actually seeing Mountain Dew stuff in Japan. It's like a very retro looking can from America.
Is it?
They're all like that. It's more like the white old school, like white and actually even the 90s ones too. It's like everything was very 80s and 90s and still has that style to it rather than like the new crazy cans that they have now. So it's kind of cool. I wanted to bring one home, but I just didn't know how to do it.
Yeah, there was another for a while. One of the annoying things about here too is they obviously there's a huge range of stuff you can buy, but an annoying thing is a lot of the stuff here is really seasonal. Like they'll sell a certain drink, like certain drinks will only come out. Actually, I've got one. I put it up here. I should throw it out because it's an old can, but this is like, and they all look sort of crazy. This is actually a 9%. It's like a White Claw.
Oh my God.
Called Strong Zero. And this one is it says Gatsunto Cider Sour. So it's a sour, it's like a have like a whiskey sour, like with a sour in it. This is a cider sour. So it's a mixed drink with like, what is cider? I guess
it's like
not when they say cider here, they mean like Sprite, like a sort of like a lemon
lime sort of deal.
Yeah, like a lemon lime. Yeah, Dan knows. And it's a 9% mixed with a sour thing. So it's like a summer drink. And this will only be out for like a month, which is really annoying. This is one that they came out with. I kept this one here. This is still I still haven't drank it. Why am I talking about alcohol?
Well, every stream, Alexi, is a 20-30 minute tangent. So let's get into it.
I think it's interesting because a lot of people won't know this, like from different parts of the world watching.
I guess
it's a different part of culture.
That is true. So this is a like the Japanese equivalent of a White Claw. It's 9%. It's called this is the Kirin version. Called Kirin is if you've heard all the beer people say, this one is The other one I just had here is I look like an alcoholic. This is Suntory. You know, for relaxing times, drink Suntory whiskey. It's all the beverage manufacturers here make regular drinks. All the alcoholic ones make, you know, so Asahi, Suntory, whatever. They all make regular, you know, soft drinks as well. I mean, these are obviously alcohol, but anyway, this is a melon soda. So, you know, like a what do you got? Do you have the melon soda in the States? What would you call it? Like,
it would be basically the same thing, like a melon soda,
like
but
a green.
It would be more of a different, like kind of a different brand. So like
they have like a San Pellegrino melon.
They have some of the other stuff,
right? But this one is it's a 500 ml, like a half-liter can of 9%. So if you drink this on an empty stomach.
Over here, that would be a Four Loko, basically.
It's the equivalent of a Four Loko. Yeah, it gets the same result as that sometimes. So, yeah. Anyway,
so we were supposed to talk about or eventually get to the best JDM cars of all time, but I already know my number one JDM car of all time, and that is Melon White Claw. It's going to be my number one JDM car of all time. Is what I'm picking.
Oh, so that's just like the newer version of Alexi's old beer can Skyline.
Yeah, it's the melon.
You're gonna have that.
I'm gonna have the melon White Claw.
A little more potent, and also probably not as willing to wake up in the morning.
Alexi, do you have YouTube open? Because there's some things that I could show that only pops up on YouTube. So as long as you have YouTube open, you can see what I'm referring to.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry I didn't answer your question about so we could find some stuff, but it's okay. We're pros at doing this on the fly. So
I'll show you what I came up with, or what we came up with. Jesse made all this, but I did a little bit, so I'm going to claim just a little bit of it, Jesse. Actually, I'm not complaining, taking any of it. So we made this. Let me show you this bracket, okay? Dun, da, da, da. So I added just a bunch of cars from our Discord. And you'll notice that we have like the Chaser, the Soarer, the S-chassis, the Evo. Honda Civic is a general, because Honda Civic would probably take over this whole chart from like the EF, the EK, the EG. So it's just Civic in general. We're trying to generalize a little bit of this stuff. Skyline, the Cusca, the R34, R30. Like literally, if we made every single category, we would have 10,000. So it's generalization, the Miata, the A86. We did have the FDF RX-7. That was before we loaded 10,000 cars. The Toyota Supra. But we can go through and talk about kind of each one of these cars in some degree, or if there's one that stands out to you that may not be on the list, Alexi, we can definitely add some more. I know that we were talking about adding a Subaru on there, and it's still not late. We can still add a Subaru on there. We still can. But this is what's added on Discord. And here's the other thing, and you know this, Alexi. Discord, I'd compare some Discord people to like drift car builders. They usually start submitting stuff the day of the event. And so this was all submitted like 12 hours to 24 hours ago in our Discord. So we just went through the top handful that was submitted early, and we added it in. So this is the generalization of the list. So they are in no particular order, and hopefully by the end of the stream, we'll have a rough idea 1 through 5. If your car did not make it on the list, once again, this is the best JDM cars of all time this week. The list can always change. Once again, we got to get Datsun on there. We got to get Subaru on there. There's a lot more we can add, but that's the general list.
This is it's a fluid thing. This sort of thing, you know, the ranking these sorts of things, it changes over time, and you know what people like and what happens and what things start to cost.
Yep.
I think can have a huge effect on this list for sure.
And so if we look, let's go back to that list. Okay, Alexi, looking at this list from the Chaser, the Soarer, the S-chassis, the Evo, the Civic, the Skyline, the Miata 86, the RX-7, and the Supra, how many of these cars would you say you have driven?
On that list, all of them.
So you've driven every star. So we have 11 cars on the list. We'll have to whittle them down to the top 5, and you've had a chance to drive almost every single one of them.
Yeah, and I guess various versions of them as well. Yeah, for sure.
All right, so for me, or actually, Dan, how many cars have you driven off the list?
Let's see. Hold on, mine's got. I have ads. T-Pain didn't pay for my stuff.
Oh, T-Pain didn't pay for your ads?
Yeah, he only paid for Hurt. I've driven the Skyline, Miata, the Corolla the FCRX-7, the FDRX-7, Supra, the Chaser. I've never driven a Soarer, but I've driven an SE300.
Okay.
I've driven the S-chassis. I've driven an Evo and a Civic. So the only one I haven't driven really is a Soarer. And actually, I drove an SE300 with a 1J in it. So maybe I've driven almost all of them as well.
Okay. For me, I have not driven a Chaser. I have the Soarer. I literally drove Robbie Nishida's FD Soarer about 20 feet, but I don't think that counts. S-chassis, driven S-chassis, very limited time in Evo, driven a Civic, driven a Skyline, very little time in a Miata. Alexi, have you sat in a Miata before, and how do you fit?
I don't fit very well. It's not I don't like to drive them fast. I've never really driven one fast on like the street or anything like that because I'm just worried about the fact my head.
Dude, that's
They call it the broomstick test? Is that what they call it? Where you're supposed to be able to lay a broomstick over the windshield and the roll cage, and your head doesn't stick out.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. No, I don't pass that. And also, if you add a helmet on top, that's like an extra couple of inches on top of that. So the only one I've ever driven, able to drive was actually last year when I went to last year when I went to the US for Lone Star. We went to that track, Harris Hill, which is in Texas, and it's a for those who don't know, it's like a sort of a country club style racetrack where you pay to be a member and stuff like that. And they have so many Miatas there, just parked around that belong to people who are part of the club. And I was sort of walking around looking, and there's this kid there. And he's like, "Oh, how you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah, cool, man. Yeah, these are cool." He's like, "Yeah, that's mine. That's mine. That's my dad's." And I'm like, "Oh, you drive?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like USA #1 Miata champion something, and he's just like 16-year-old, 17-year-old kid. Yeah, spec class. I was like, "Oh, okay, that's cool. What's your Instagram?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, actually, yeah, you're really good." And he goes, "I was like, man, I love these things. I just can't fit in them." He goes, "Oh, you want to drive my dad's one? He's modified it so because he's tall. He's about as tall as you. He could fit in it. You could fit and just take it out." I'm like, "Okay." So yeah, I jump in his left-hand drive, which I wasn't really used to, but I just got in and just took it around for a few laps, and it was great. And yeah, he'd modified the floor pan so your butt was all the way down, and it was great. I would have loved to do like 100 laps in that, but he didn't specifically say anything, so I'll just do like 5 and come back in.
Yeah,
that was really cool. And he's like some genius driver. He drives like all the time. Apparently,
when you come back over here, we can get you in a shark cart because you'll fit in that. I made sure that Brian fits at 6'8". So,
well, I'm envisioning Alexi sitting in a Miata and his head's actually sticking about 3 feet above the roll cage, which mine's pretty close to that. But what you're doing, Alexi, is you're actually protecting the car. So when you roll over, your head is actually saving the car. It's the reverse effect.
So my old roommates, they were both pretty tall guys, and they're both from Bulgaria. And they loved Miatas, and they would drive them all the time. And they had the soft top. And the funniest thing was driving behind them, you could see 2 bumps in the soft top from where their heads were. It was like, why do you love driving this so much? And you obviously don't fit. Maybe put the top down, but maybe it's an extra sense of security that's not going to do anything.
So with this list, once again, we had a debate for best drift cars of all time. And a lot went into that. It was, what are we basing it off of? Are we basing it off the culture and what the car has done for the automotive community? For example, like the AE86 and the Miata, there was a lot of times where the Miata, we wanted the Miata was passing the 86, but obviously culturally, the 86 is like one of the OGs of the automotive world. So it's like, how should we do the best JDM cars of all time? And once again, the Civic, we can look at the Civic too. Are we basing it purely just off of, let's say, street performance, track performance, but also what they've done for the culture and community? There's a lot that we need to be analyzing what makes the best JDM cars of all time. Also, the enjoyment of driving should be probably one of the most crucial elements of the judging criteria.
Well, and I think part of it too is the impact on the different cultures, right? So in America, we don't have all of these vehicles, and in certain parts of other other countries, they don't have all of these vehicles either, or they have a different version of this car. And that's part of it too. What impact does it have on everybody else? And that's where hopefully chat can chime in too, is what is the most iconic in where you're from. So that would be a great help.
And also, chat, while you guys are here, if you go over to Discord, we have that section pulled up, the best JDM cars of all time. If you want to start submitting videos about any one of these cars to fight for the winner, right? So if you have your favorite JZX video and you stand behind a thing and it's the best, drop that video in chat. If you have a Skyline video that you like so much, drop it in chat, and we'll use those as references, as Jesse is showing us here. Here's some photo examples of the criteria that was submitted before we really start digging into this. So we'll get some photos and videos put up as well. But we could start with well, here, let's do this. And this is going to be changing as we go. This is the beauty of doing it live. So we have obviously 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 11 cars here. I think our first argument was whittle it down to a 5 count. We should whittle this down to a 5. Just
so right now, what do you think? We just pick our least favorite? Is that what you're going for? You want to pick your least favorite on the list and just knock it off?
Yeah, and we should get down to a 5, and then we argue the best 5. And chat, you can help us too. Which cars do you think should be off the list? So if I'm looking at this, I look at the Chaser. I love the Chaser. I know what it's done for the drifting community. I know it's a pretty iconic vehicle, especially in the drifting world. I just don't have much experience with it. How would you guys say the Chaser stands up in this list?
Oh, I'm the wrong person to ask about
Alexi, lay it on us.
Okay. Well, I mean, we're going to talk about that. I'll just go. I'll take the gloves off for the first one. Actually, but there's so many bad things I can say about that car too. All right. For those who don't know and who've never ridden in a JZX, we're just saying Toyota Chaser because that's there's 3 versions of it. There's when we're talking about the JZX 100 or JZX 90 or 81 at least, or 71.
I'd say 90 and 100.
90 100.
Most people know.
So
here.
You've got the Chaser, the Mark II, and the Cresta. And the way to think about those 3 different cars is they're basically the same car, same engine, same drivetrain, same generally all sort of stuff, right? The Chaser is the version that is meant to look like a BMW. It's got BMW-style headlights, BMW-style taillights. It's meant for a person, this one. It's meant for the Japanese man who is kind of, I need a big sedan because a sedan is the manly car to drive. I want it to be sort of, European-style looking, but I don't want to be known as a guy who drives a foreign car. Okay, so this is your Toyota Chaser. Yep. The Mark II is very similar looking. The Mark II is the one which sells the most out of all the 3, and it's your old man car. It's the car your uncle drives or your dad. Your dad when he sells, his car he doesn't really need to carry a big family around anymore, or he needs to be able to fit his golf clubs in the back. That's what the Mark II is. And the Cresta is I don't even know how to place that. But
it's the ugly one.
The Cresta is kind of the ugly one, and it's driven by mostly weirdos. Who they want.
There's so many friends right now cringing at me. I know it. I love that car.
It's true though. No, but I think it's great. The Cresta is the one which has the biggest the word in Japanese is like tsuparu, like to push back, the biggest rebel appeal.
Yeah. Like a cult following sort of deal.
Yeah, the cult following, especially as a street car, it's like seen as the badass one. Like this is if you drive a Cresta, you are probably a street drifter. Like that's the sort of the image they have. As a driver, like the original owner would be a really like an old man and a very it's an old man, but he still slicks back his hair and wears wide ties and things. I don't know, just like that's sort of old man style.
Corey, it's like a Buick Mark 8.
See,
I'm sure, yeah. See, Dan, you're the best person to talk about how to relate these to American cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, I don't know, but somehow you could make it cool. And I've seen really good ones, and my friends drive really good ones, but
yeah,
they are
look
that
really
attitude that you're saying. Those guys keep that attitude. Like,
yeah, like
you don't like the Crescents because you don't know what it's about. Like, okay.
So, Alexi, would you say the Chasers have a standing chance to be in the top 5?
Worldwide, no, unfortunately, because not enough people have
Jesse,
driven
hold
them.
that video for a second. Jesse, hold that video for real quick.
Not enough people have driven them to know what they're like. And as an all-round JDM car,
yep,
they are definitely one of the best. Reasons being, one, two, three. Reasons being, they're cool. It's a big sedan. Big sedans have a big appeal to not everybody, obviously, but to a lot of people. So it's a big sedan. That's the first cool thing. Okay. Second thing, it can fulfill everything. It can be a cool, slow, comfortable street driver. It slammed, low, whatever. It does that well. It can be a championship-winning drift car, which it has done in many hands.
Yep.
Okay. Just simply because of the engine options you can put in it, the dynamics of the body and that sort of thing once properly modified. Okay, and at the same time, I guess it's kind of combining the first two. It can do the first two at the same time. It can be a drift car which you can pack all your stuff into, all your tools, tires, everything, drive it comfortably to the track with your girlfriend who won't complain about it being low and loud and irritating. Once you get there, you can drift the hell out of it. And because it's a Toyota, it's tough. It'll last the whole day. You can drive it back home.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think part of that, one of the reasons I think it's so cool is because in America, I think we missed the mark. Like, we never really had something like that as far as the Japanese vehicle went. The only answer we have to that is the CTS-V.
Right.
That is the saloon that is super cool. It's fast. It does everything well on track. It could be a drift car if you wanted it to. And it's also just nice to drive. Like, it looks good. It's just a cool vehicle. You don't have to be a motorsports enthusiast to enjoy the car. But it does help that it really does perform well. And that's the only thing we have, but it's a little unattainable for a lot of people.
All right, so Chaser, let's just set that one aside. Is there any strong noticeable ones? Like, a lot of people in the chat are saying the Soarer, the Toyota Soarer should be one on the cut list. Some people are arguing about the Evo potentially being on the cut list.
I'd like to argue that if you cut the Soarer, you can cut the Supra.
Ooh.
Or okay, then it's this. Hold on.
I'm a Jay-Z guy. I love.
Let's argue this then. Is one, do you prefer one over the other? Now, culturally, the Supra is more predominant in the automotive motorsports world than the Soarer, right? So if you had to pick one between the Supra or the Soarer, I think the Supra outweighs the Soarer in a couple pieces of that. What it's done, obviously, for the JDM culture. It's still being used today. They're getting rare, obviously getting a little bit more expensive. The Soarer's advantage is they're still super affordable because it's SC300. But yes, it's literally the identical car, Dan.
But here, I would say that most of the people that are sour about it in chat would be being from America. That car has a 1UZ or an NA2J.
Yeah.
And those motors are trash. If you had a real JZ in that, your argument would be a little bit different. As if you drove one that was properly set up like a Soarer, I think you might change your mind.
Alexi, where do you stand on this?
I mean, I think out of that list, I would probably drop the Soarer first because it's kind of a combination of, like, it's got a lot of good points, but a lot of the other cars do what a Soarer does better than the Soarer does in, I mean, obviously the Soarer is that, big, long cruiser, sports touring cruiser sort of thing. Yeah. And unfortunately, I think sports tourers can never really be at the absolute apex. They can be a lot of things to a lot of people, but they often don't have that extremely sharp edge that can put them in the top 5.
Okay.
Have you ever lifted up one of their doors?
It's a boat anchor.
See, the hinges on them are like, that big.
Yeah.
All right, so we got Soarer sitting on the side. We'll go back to that. Now, people, chat, we're looking at you guys. People are talking smack on the Civic.
Yeah, that's probably okay. So I always find it interesting to listen to American people talk about Civics and the absolute raw acidic hate that a lot of people have for Civics, especially like people who I talk to them from California. Like, I don't know. I don't really understand why that is, but it seems to be like so polarizing. Like some people are like Civic is, ball is life. Like it's like Civic is the only thing that ever exists ever. And other people are like, man, that car can just go burn. Like I can't. I don't know what happened, or a lot of people ran some too many open exhausts when you're trying to study it,
Yeah.
or sleep or what? I don't know.
Do you not many? Do you not have many fart cans in Japan?
Not in the way that you have us on a Civic. I mean, no, not really. And most of the times when I hear a loud exhaust these days in like regular life, it's actually a JZX with like a straight pipe. You can hear it coming a mile away because it'd be like that straight pipe, 6 sounds like, it's a JZX coming. Or like, it'd be some Bossazoku dudes like revving, their bikes and stuff like that. But no, you don't get that fart can sound anymore in daily life almost at all. And if you do, it's like it's not a Civic. It'd be like again. But although I will say this, I'm in Tokyo. Civics, Hondas is a West Japan thing. Like it's like it's because the Honda is from down in West Japan. And like, for example, if you go down to where like Suzuka Circuit is in like Mie Prefecture and like around there, it's all it's surprisingly, you look at the people driving cars on the street, it's like, wow, there's actually so many Hondas just driving around daily. Whereas Tokyo is more of a Toyota Nissan sort of place. So not really.
Okay, so
I think going off that, Echoes says, and more to your point there, like, yes, the V8 guys here, the LS guys, that's the Antichrist, is the Civic.
Yep.
That's what pisses those guys off. You have those crazy guys that are all about the American cars and stuff like that and love the thumpy stuff, and they hate that Honda Civic. But I think it's done so much for our culture here. I mean, that's partially what got me started into import cars at all, was the Honda Civic. I'm seeing that stuff in Fast and Furious.
Oh,
and
boy,
like,
this is going to be tough.
Those are cool. I think it's too big here, man. The drag racing scene in America was insane for Honda Civic.
This is going to be tough.
It's good, man. A good old EG, you can't take that
this is going to be real tough. This is going to be real tough. And speaking of fart cans, we do have one of the best provider of anti-fart cans being a part of the stream. So if you have a fart can and want to get rid of that thing, make sure you throw a MagnaFlow exhaust on that bad boy. By slipping on a MagnaFlow exhaust, it removes any fart-like sound from the exhaust and makes that thing sound like a beautiful street car or a maniac race car. Guys, explanation MagnaFlow in chat to check out all MagnaFlow products. Head over to magnaflow.com and see what product they offer for your car. And then also, if you're building a JDM race car or track car or street car, throw some Falcon tires on it, boys. If you want to get wrapped up around with some Falcon tires, street, track, drift, show, or doing burnouts for your grandma and grandpa who are looking outside the window because they're anti-socialing, right? So they want to watch a burnout. You throw some Falcons on it, and your grandparents can appreciate some burnouts. So thank you, Falcon. Thank you, MagnaFlow. All right, so Civics. Shit. Alexi, I'm kind of striking out here. I think we're pretty confident the Soarer's coming off.
Leave the Civic around about there for now.
Okay, let's just set the Civic right here. Miata. Let's talk about the Miata, because Chad has spoken. They're saying Miata, good or bad. I have a love-hate with the Miata, Alexi.
Yeah, I mean, if this was like a top 5 non-tuner JDM cars of all time,
yeah,
for sure.
Okay.
Because we're coming at it from a, street performance, tickles your whatever side of things, right?
Right.
Is that what a Miata does?
Right. So here's this, okay? If I were to put low horsepower party cars against one another, and I would love to get your opinion on this. I want to put the Miata next to the Corolla. In the sense of, let's put these two head to head. Low horsepower. Yeah. Let's put these.
Bracketing these things is probably an easier way of doing it.
So if we're gonna go to like the low horsepower party car category, and I put these two in the same realm, what would you pick?
The Corolla and the Miata?
Yeah.
The one on the right, buddy, the Corolla AE86 for sure.
And you recently obviously just picked one up, and if you guys haven't seen Alexi's channel lately, he bought the one of the most beautiful Corollas I've ever seen. Slight rust, but that's weight reduction, natural weight reduction. It's natural weight reduction. It has a beams motor in it, right?
Yeah, it has a unfortunate everything about this is the worst. Like it's if I wasn't doing this on YouTube, I never would have touched this thing. I wouldn't have gone anywhere near it. But okay, let's put this in perspective. On my channel, of all the videos on my YouTube channel, if you sort them by popularity, like as in views, the almost in the top 5, I think in 3 of the top 5 have something to do with an A86. It's like meme car, A86 meme car, like that the quad turbo thing that I've made that video about. A86, A86. It's popular for some reason. Now, how much of that is initial D? Let's just forget that for now. So I thought, okay, I really like 86s. They're going up in value so much right now. It's sort of now, it's not really now or never, but it's like, this is a good time to buy one. Robbie Nishida just bought one at the exact same time I did. So we're all like, oh yeah, let's do this again. So I found this one and it belonged to a guy. So this, when a car comes up and you're like, no, I have to buy this. I can't not buy it. It's just the universe is presenting this opportunity to me. I can either take it or I can leave it alone. Maybe it'll come back to me again and it'll give me another chance, right. But then the opportunity will just dissolve forever in the ether of time. So I saw this why I'm getting so flowery, I'll explain. Yeah. The guy I bought it from is a friend of mine called Sawa. He was the guy who I bought my original beer can Skyline from. Like it was his car. So I bought that from him. Then when I bought my original A85, which is an 8.6 in an 8.5 body, I sold it to him. Right. Yeah. So he put this car up for sale. It was a rusty Levin coupe with a Toyota Altezza Beams engine. For those who don't know, in the regular A86, you've got the 4A GE engine, which is a 4-cylinder, usually in that generation, 16 valve. So the Beams engine is the one which came in the Altezza. It's a 3S GE. So the 4A and the 3S are different families of engines. The 3S, came in Celicas, older Celicas, and sort of various cars like that. Did it?
I think so.
Was that the 7?
No, that's a GE.
Oh, yeah. That's I don't know if that was the 4. So anyway, the 3SG was so the 4A GE relates to other engines like the 7M, which is also a 6-cylinder. Yep. They look kind of similar. So that's a different family. The 3S, 3S came in the MR2. So that also came as like the 3S GTE. It was the engine they used in the Japanese touring cars for a 4-cylinder. So it's a racing engine. It's a good engine. The previous owner, I don't know who it was. It was just some random guy because my friend Sawa bought it from Yahoo Auctions, which is the Japanese version of eBay. It had the full conversion done. It was actually done really good. It had little, brackets made for all the wiring, and it was all cleanly installed. And it had the dashboard for the Altezza installed, and the climate controls and all this sort of stuff. It was all really good. But it was like it was parked next to the Titanic. It has so much rust. You could put every time you touch it, every time I park the car and then drive it away somewhere, there's like little flakes of rust all over the ground. It's bad. It's really bad. And it was still way too much money for that kind of car, because that's what they're getting like these days. And I thought, okay, I have to buy this. So I drove it last week. I drove it the first time I drove it. I crashed it because the dampers are all terrible. Everything's terrible.
Oh my God. Like, how bad did you crash it?
Actually, no, I just barely missed a bunch of truck tires and hit like a dirt wall. Otherwise, it would have been a disaster, because the headlights on those things are like $200 each these days. It was fine. Took it out last weekend, crashed it again. I bent a tie rod. It's like a Recaro seat, and I'm like trying to splay my legs to brace myself against the door and things like that, but I can't because there's no center console, and I'm trying to hang onto the steering wheel. It's manual steering, and the steering wheel's too far away, and it's terrible. I'm doing a terrible job driving this car. But last weekend, I managed to get in a God lap, and it felt so good that I haven't felt that way in a long time driving a car. Like when you get that, it clicks. Yes, this is it. The gearing is wrong, and the seating position is wrong, and this is not comfortable, and everything is bad, and I'm hitting the rev limiter because everything. I don't know the track that well either yet, but it just felt so good. That is the thing that makes the AE86 so good. It gives you that feeling you want, without having to go 800 horsepower, without having to spend money on a whole bunch of stuff. This car didn't cost that much, but it gave me that feeling. And that's not the most important thing to everybody, but to a lot of us it is. Mm-hmm. And it's the cheap, it's whatever the, I don't know, sort of, it's this. It's a White Claw, right? It's the cheap 9%, drink it on an empty stomach that gives you the buzz. Oh, this is lovely cognac it was made 36 years ago. Oh, the aroma. No, just like that's what it is. And it gives you that feeling. And it gives you that feeling merging into traffic. It gives you that feeling in a car park. You know, it gives you that feeling anywhere. Like that's why it's so good.
So this is guys, we haven't even.
You don't get that in a Miata.
No, you don't get that in Miata. And
you drove the wrong Miatas.
And here's the thing.
Maybe that's true. That is probably true.
I'm very pro Miata.
We literally
will agree the 86 is.
We only maybe removed one, and we have to remove about 6. So this is what we're gonna do, and we could debate about this, but we'll make this easy. And we're gonna make it easy on us. We're gonna make chat fight for this, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a poll and have chat remove top 5 poll. It's already in chat. And so basically what they're going to do, pick your top 5. Pick your top 5 on what you think should be in the list. And that would make it easy on us. Alexi, nobody's going to be yelling at us because they're picking the top 5. So if you guys click on that link that was just dropped in by Jesse, you pick the car that you want to fight for in the top 5. And then we'll go through that list and start breaking it. We'll make it easy. We'll make it real easy.
Chat, do work for us.
Do work, please, chat. Help us. So let's see what we got. So as of right now, as it stands, you have the Skyline, the 86, the Evo, the FD-RX-7, and the Toyota Supra in the top 5 currently. But the poll just went live just a second ago. So let's see. Okay. Skyline FD-RX-7, and here, I'll pull this up right here. Chat, I'm going to hit refresh results. Already 300 votes. Holy shit, guys. You guys are doing work right now. The Skyline FD-RX-7 Supra has moved. The S-chassis has moved up. Now the Corolla has bumped the Evo. The Evo is now out of that top 5 bracket. 536 votes. We're at 5. That's a stream record right there. We just did a stream record on voting. 600, 617, 622.
All right, we got a problem. Chat is saying that we're missing the 240Z and the NSX, and I have to agree.
But this is the best stream. This is for all time this week. If
there
they would,
there's your answer.
The thing is if they would have voted in Discord earlier, we would have added them on the list. So since they were slacking, we have to continue the show, and maybe we'll do another one, and we'll have a best of. But as of right now, with what was submitted through Discord, we have 798, 840 total votes right now. Let's give it another minute. I'm going to hide this right here. Let's just give it one more minute on the voting.
Corey, can I address something that keeps popping up in chat?
Yep.
Okay, so a lot of people are mentioning cars like, oh, you got to add 22B, you got to add the Pulsar, the Sunny GTIR, you got to add all this sort of stuff. I thought about this before. All those cars which were the homologation cars, like cars that were made and sold so that manufacturers could run a car in a competition, I don't think should be part of this conversation.
Okay.
Like the ST205 Celica GT4, all those sorts of cars. I don't think they should be in this list because what we are looking for. We're not talking about motorsports or their relationship to motorsports. We're talking about their relationship to single owners who drive them on the street or the track for their own personal enjoyment, not as a collectible car, not as a something in that way. I just don't think, like, they might be better, but they don't fit this criteria, like what we're looking for, like the relatability. Like how many, like, okay, NSX, yes, it's great because here's a list why it's great. Okay, fine. It's all aluminium. It was tuning, was the suspension tuning was, it's center and all that sort of stuff. But okay, fine. Okay. Do you have NSX? Do you have modified NSX money? Like,
and that I agree. I totally agree. And I also, to elaborate on that too, Lexi, it's we're looking at a lot of these cars as being an iconic, like the Hakuska, right? The Hakuska, the NSX. It's like those are the icons, and they have such a culture, and it created a heritage and a legacy. And there's a lot of the cars, like, once again, looking at the list, like the S-chassis, you still pick them up for $2-3 grand. They're reasonable. You can commute in them, and you can go drift them. It's a total package. It's not just the legacy. All forms. All right, so here let's take it. Let's leave it up to them, guys. We have 1,100 votes in right now. 1,100 votes, and we're gonna look at the poll right now. I'm gonna pull it up on the screen. Hashtag not my list. Hashtag not my list. Here it is.
Wow, chat is getting interactive today. That's like pretty much everybody voted.
Oh yeah, this is getting wild. And we have,
look at the Soarer.
The Soarer is down at the bottom with 5 votes. All right.
Well, you didn't do it justice in argument either, but I would have to agree that should be at the bottom.
All right, so we have the Soarer on the bottom. So we're gonna eliminate the Soarer. Dan, the Miata with only 39 votes.
That's why I stayed quiet. I always lose this battle. I don't care. It can stay in my heart. But it actually didn't make my list.
If Hurt was here,
I made my own list, and it didn't make my list.
If Hurt was here, he would rage right now. FC did not make the list. The Chaser did not make the list.
That's fine. I'm okay with that because, yeah, like I said before, not enough people have experienced what it's like as an overall thing, and that's fine. I get it.
Okay. Here's one, and once again, I took all bias and fart cans out of it in the Civic. I looked at the Civic as what it's capable of doing, the tunability, the enjoyment of driving, the track driving, the street driving. I thought the Civic was going to be up there, maybe a competitor, but it ended up not making the list. And the Evo was barely behind the S-chassis by maybe 21 votes. So if we're whittling down to the top 5, we have the S-chassis, the 86, the Supra, the RX-7, and the Skyline. So let's go over to our list here, gentlemen, and let's start knocking these off one by one. So we're going to take off the Chaser. We're taking off the Soarer. We're removing the FC RX-7. We're removing the Miata. Dan, I know it's tough. We're removing the Civic. And last but not least, we are removing the Evo. So here we go. And looking at this, okay, analyzing this list now, we have the Skyline, the S-chassis as a whole, S13, S14, S15. The Skyline could be the Skylines as a whole, R32, R33, R34. The FD-RX-7 is very specific, and the Toyota Supra, I'm assuming everybody's talking about the Mark IV. And once again, you guys can look at us. You guys have spoken, Chad. This is your list. Hashtag your list. So let's do this. Let's get some videos pulled up. Let's pick a car. What car do you guys want to talk about first? Dan, Alexi?
No.
Let's see. Well, we've got 4 cylinders, 6 cylinders, and rotary. Well, let's start. Let's go in order of
Power?
in order of power. Yeah. Okay.
You want to start at the bottom with the Corolla?
Start at the bottom with the. Yeah.
All right. Let's do this.
We'll work our way up.
So let's do AE86 here. Oof. Let's see here.
I think what we should also do when we talk about these cars is not only talk about the good parts, but also the bad parts, or maybe versions of them which were bad, or things that are. See, now we've got the top list. We've got to punch them down.
Yeah.
Yep. So what we usually do, and we could change this, is we could just, like, if we talk about the 86, we can have a general idea on where we want to put it, and then we can move it from there once we get the.
I almost want to veto the Supra just for the same fact that the NSX. It was like, how many of you guys have Supra money to do it rather than
now? Yeah.
Because it's changed so much, and I agree. Like, it's a really great car and done a lot for the culture. But as far as everybody who gets off work and is, teens, 20s, 30s, sometimes can't afford it. Most of you have gotten in a Civic, bashed that around, had fun, got the feel out of it, ripped it around the track. But I bet it's a very small percentage of you guys that voted even that have ever been in a Supra.
All right, so Alexi, let's talk about an 86. We're gonna be using your video as an example here.
This is the worst car to use as an example. It's not a good. It's a mutant freak that's all terrible and rusty and with the wrong engine and.
But you already kind of mentioned, though, but even mentioning your driving experience, why would this car be on your list?
Every time I've driven one has been, it's been an experience from start to end. And it fits into so many situations. Like you can, it doesn't feel like you have to hold back when you're driving a Corolla. Every time you can drive it, you can just drive it flat out and fast. Like that's one of the biggest problems about driving bigger, higher horsepower, cars on the street is it's constantly like you got a leash on it. It's like, I want to do that. No, okay. But here, with a Corolla, it's like, yeah, we're merging onto the highway, flat out, yay! We're coming out of the car park. Let's go through first, second, third gear because we're only going to get to 60, 70 kilometers an hour. Yay! Like that, it's fun. It gives you what you want all the time.
Yeah, and that's it's something that, and Hurt was saying this, and when he picked up his 86, it's literally one of those cars that even though if you're not doing 1,000,000 miles an hour, it's the pure enjoyment of the rawness and enjoying the lack of power and the drivability, and there's so much to it that makes driving the 86 so important. For me, I haven't driven the 86, and it's hard for me to judge this, but I see why people enjoy it, and I would love to drive one day.
I'm going to say some sort of elitist gatekeeping sort of stuff here, which is I'm not really in a position to say, but I'll say it anyway. If you haven't driven an A86 specifically, it will probably frustrate you if you can drive a normal car or any other sort of car well, you'll drive that, or you think you can drive well at least. You'll drive it and you go, it's really annoying. And then you'll hit a point and you'll get over that point and you'll get the way it's meant to be driven because it's completely different. You can drive a Silvia, a Skyline, a JZX, any of these sorts of cars in basically the same sort of way, and it'll give you the same result. But if you try and jump into one of these, not having driven one before, you just don't. It'll be really irritating and frustrating until it clicks. And then once it clicks, though, it is absolutely you and the car and the course, and that's it.
Yeah.
It has some. It's just something special that you can't explain until you've actually driven it.
So with that, seeing the 86, driving the 86, should we just right out of the gate just put it right in the third position? And these lists, this can move. We just got to get one placed on the list. So I figured if we have a baseline, the Corolla could be the baseline sitting in a...
On my personal list, I put it as second.
On your personal list, you would put it in your second.
Yeah.
Alexa,
I'd say leave it where it is. Third looks good to me.
Third's good.
Okay. That's going to create an argue point. So third, this is the baseline. The 86 is being the baseline. So for basing it off of horsepower, Corolla is going to be sitting in third. Do you guys want to go with the FD-RX-7? Talk that on the next talking points.
Is that the next most powerful car?
Least powerful? S-chassis? SR?
The FD and the S-chassis are pretty similar in power.
Let's go. Let's look
I
at
mean, we could talk about the S-chassis because over here, the S-chassis is the absolute turd as far as power goes. It's just above the Corolla.
Yeah, let me see here. We could talk about the S-chassis. Let's go S-chassis. Let's do
right,
S-chassis.
This will take some time because there's a lot to cover with this.
The S-chassis, so for me, I've spent a lot of my time in the S-chassis, and especially depending on once again, we're looking at the JDM S-chassis, so I'm not going to try to make this about the US DM cars. I'm trying to make this about the JDM. I think there's a couple iconic pieces about the S-chassis that I enjoy so much, right? For me, the S-chassis, the SR20 DET, red top, black top, once again, a very capable motor outside of the rocker arm problem, which could easily be fixed with some rockers. A lot of the suspension geometry.
The rocker arm problem is generally a problem with the driver and not with the engine.
Is it them trying to make too much horsepower on stock rockers or driving them like a-holes?
Did someone say something? I didn't hear.
Jesus has spoken. Jesus has spoken. No, I think that the S-chassis is so capable and it's still being used, and I still see them in the stock form on the street. What is it like, Alexi, in Japan? How common is it to see an S-chassis on the street in the stock form?
Stock? Okay, so these days, you either see ones, like if you just see them driving on the street, they're either fairly heavily modified or they are like, okay, three types, I guess, which is fairly normal, but either heavily modified, kind of old and beaten up, or absolutely mint pristine with the teardrop tire, with the teardrop wheels, two-tone mint and silver sort of things, like Survivors. You see a lot of those, especially the S13s, and it's always some young guy driving them too, which I think is really great. In Tokyo, almost it's very uncommon. Sometimes, like, you'll see one. This is kind of a funny thing. Like, if you're out in Tokyo, at maybe, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 in the morning, you'll sometimes see one driving past that's obviously been out street drifting the night before. Like, it looks so out of place. It'll be kind of all bashed up with stickers and stuff like that. And they're on their way home. Out in the countryside areas, they're a lot more common because out there, kids have space to park a car and own a car, which you just don't have in Tokyo. So yeah, living in Tokyo is not a great place unless you like supercars, because that's mostly what there are here. If you like that sort of thing, but you sort of see them. It's more of a countryside thing though.
Dan, what's your take? S-chassis.
I think, as far as we perceive it from the American culture, it's one of the most iconic cars that there is out there. It's so tunable. The style is very cool. There's so many different options for it. I mean, the S13 versus the S14 and S15 are all very different, but very similar in the way that they drive. I just think it's a really cool car. I mean, I own one, and it was my first real drift car that I built myself. But I think it ranks high on the list, but it's very, very, very popular. So
yeah. Let's see. Let's go back to our list here real quick. So we have Corolla just planted in third. And I think the discussion is going to be this. The S-chassis in chat. Where do you think the S-chassis should land temporarily, guys? Chat, we're going to lean this one on you. I think tunability, aftermarket, from the factory. Pretty iconic car. So where would you guys like to see the S-chassis flop?
Who's saying fourth and fifth? What? Four? Okay, all right. Let me present
a little bit more.
Present a bit more about the S-chassis. Okay, so within that you've got the 180SX, the hatchback and the coupe, right?
Okay.
So we're combining them because they're basically the same thing. Okay, so unlike the JZX, which has got knocked off, which look fairly similar, depending on what model you had, the S-chassis you go all the way from the S13, S14, S15. Okay, so within that you've got the what do you call them, a fastback or a liftback or something like that? I don't know, the hatchback, the 180SX. The
180.
The 180, the smooth, cool looking car. With pop-up, it's got pop-ups. Lower it down, looks cool. Some body kit. It's a sleek, highway. You drive down the highway, it looks cool. You're drifting, it looks cool. It just looks cool. It's for people who like that speed and want that look of a sports car, right?
Yep.
So in the S13, same thing. You've got the Silvia. It's the little coupe. It's small. See, what makes a fun car for your average person? And they're almost always small, light, power. That's the three things from the original hot rod back in whenever they started making hot rod 30s, 40s, whatever.
Yep.
Powerful engine, small lightweight car. It's fun. Now, you've got a chassis which is really easy to work on.
Yep.
Again, it's the hot rod thing. Really easy to work on. If you don't know how to do it, a friend can show you one time how to do something, and you can probably remember how to do it. Like as an absolute beginner, right?
Yep.
Anytime, like I'm not a mechanic. I'm a terrible mechanic. I was never a good mechanic. I always just gave my back. I guess fortunately or unfortunately, back when I first started, owning cars, I had a good job which paid a lot, and I would just drop my car off at the mechanic. Go, hey, I want this, and I'd come back and pick it up. So I never really learned a whole lot until I'd actually break something at the track. But that's the thing. I'd break something at the track, be like, oh shit, I broke an arm, or I broke something, or I bent this. Okay, what do I have to do? And someone would come and go, just here, you bend those tabs back and you unscrew that and make sure it's screwed on there and just take it off. And okay. Yep. And then I do it once. No worries. After that, this is the relationship that you have with your car as a driver and tuner. Is you learn these things, and it teaches you as much as you learn. That is a feeling that I think those of you in chat who get it, you get it. It's that. It's not a one-way relationship. And this is the thing that, again, not talking down on people who are in that sort of thing, but a lot of people who own a car have a one-way relationship with it. It's like, yes, I own this cool car, and it's like it goes this way. It doesn't come back. The best cars are the ones which teach you as much as you drive it. It teaches you something. Not that you drive it and then that's it. The Silvias are probably the best out of all of these, maybe apart from the AE86, for doing this sort of thing. Teaching you as far as driving goes, maybe not tuning so much. Skyline maybe is probably better for that. FD is more of a master slave relationship. I don't know if you can say that anymore. As far as it owns you. The RX-7 owns you. But the Silvia has probably the best balance of all these cars, all JDM cars, of teaching you as much as you give it, you get as much as you give. It's easier to drive in stock form with all the bushings and all this stuff on it. It's kind of hard to screw up. Like if you screw up, you have to make a big effort. Like if you're I'm gonna drift it, and you see those videos of people like sliding into curbs in car parks. and the springs come flying out and stuff like that. Like you have to make a big effort to screw up in a S chassis. It doesn't fight you back very quickly.
I want to elaborate on that too, and like you said, the tunability, the aftermarket support, it is literally the perfect puzzle to start your build with, meaning that you can get parts, put them on, and learn as you go. It's not very difficult to work on. All the parts are easily accessible. I learned on an S chassis, and even like looking at the Corolla, isn't the Corolla like the spindle and shock weld together? You have to cut it, modify it. It's like working on that is definitely a little bit more tricky as far as suspension wise goes, and the parts are now more difficult to get. The driving experience is probably similar or a little bit more fun in the Corolla if you're liking that struggle or the fight of having less power.
One of the things you just said there too is interesting. Like for people who work on Corollas, they have a lot of SSTs that car needs. Like the special thing to undo the top, the top of the suspension. What do you call it? The shock housing. Or like all these tools you need to do special things like hold the diff so it doesn't turn, so you can undo this other thing. Like you have to either fabricate your own thing or buy it or borrow it from a friend. Like the S chassis you have a set of sockets, a set of wrenches,
done,
and a screwdriver. You're done.
17, 19, 13 millimeter wrenches and a 14 is essentially all you need to work on an S chassis. That's it. You can get a cheap socket set and a wrench set, and you can tear that hole. And you need some 19s for the rear, the rear arms and the subframe, and that is literally it. You can get away with about 8 wrenches and 8 sockets to take apart an entire S chassis, and I think that has to go.
Even for a drive shaft, it's a big socket, but you can just go to the tool shop and buy it. You don't need to. Yeah.
Oh, the axle bolts are 32 millimeter, I think. 36 millimeters, and the fronts are 32. It's something like. But at the end of the day, super easy to work on. And if I were to look at, if this was my list, I would either look at moving the Corolla down one and putting the S chassis in third, or just slipping the S chassis for now into second.
Let's put it in second for now.
Yeah.
You guys agree? I think we're all on the same point as that. Keep it in second for now. All right. Let's do this.
What's bad? So what is bad about an S though? People can talk about rocker arms. Let me tell you this. Okay, everybody, listen. Listen. Everybody, listen. Red line is not a suggestion in an SR. It is a limit. Red line is a limit. It's not a suggestion. Oh yeah, it's fine. No. Torque. SR20s go from here to here. They don't go like that. They're not like that. They go like that. Okay, it's that part. The left side of the tack is where all the fun is. It's not at the top. Oh, I threw rockers again, man. I don't know what's wrong with this car. I'm just going to put a V8 in it. No, you're treating it wrong. You're doing it wrong. And this is the downfall of some of these cars is the fact that they're so nice to you and they take all this abuse. Like, no, it's okay. No, you can hit red line again. It's fine. No, it's fine. No, I'm good. No worries about it. Whereas other cars will immediately just die and they won't allow the idiot owners to continue owning them. Right. That's what it is. Anyway.
They also talking about the current state of S chassis is they are getting more expensive, and you're finding them already beat and destroyed. It's becoming rare. SRs are getting way more expensive. I don't know if you're experiencing that over.
Oh yeah. They're a lot more expensive here than they used to be.
Have you seen the price tag on what an SR is over by you?
Here?
Yeah.
I have not for a while, but they're getting up to like if you want like an S15 engine, yeah, they're like. I don't know what they are now, like over 3,000.
Yeah. The first SR that I bought, I paid $1,200 for. And it was a red top, and this was probably 4 or 5 years ago. So within the past 4 or 5 years, they've literally over doubled in price. Hold on, let's see a clip here. What clip is this? Is this over revving an SR? Let me see.
Oh, this is me and bloody Adam. Yeah, like... fat handing it. Yeah, here you go.
Adam's car?
Yeah.
Oh, 11th. Yeah.
Sorry.
right, so that's Rocker Arm Training 101. Thanks.
Okay, that because his car has this weird aftermarket shifting because of his gearbox, and it's like it's super short. That's another thing too. I absolutely hate with an absolute passion short shifters. I can't stand them. I like it to be like a truck because you know what gear it's going to go into. I want it to be have a good bushing. They're all like all fresh bushings and stuff like that, but a long throw because you know where it's going to go. Is these little
yeah.
I hate that.
Yeah, that was a money shift 101, guys. But the car ended up not getting damaged, right, Alexi? It was fine.
I backed off straight away, so it was fine. So
let's do that. So we'll put the Nissan S-chassis in second place, right in front of the 86. Now we have to look at the Supra and FD-RX-7 and Skyline. I don't have much time. I don't have much time in the RX-7, nor the Skyline, nor the Supra. I'm gonna probably put let's talk about the Skyline the last, because everybody's hungry about the Skyline. Let's hit the RX-7 next, the FD-RX-7. The only thing I know about the FD-RX-7 is, one, how much more I need to know about it, because I don't know much. The rotary package, talking to the Vargas guys, talking to Hurt, even Rob Dahm mentioning that the FD-RX-7 or the rotary is not very difficult to work on. Obviously, it's a simplistic motor. There's a few things you have to do to maintain it, obviously doing the premix and things like that. Culturally, a very, very iconic car in the automotive space.
If an FD-RX-7,
I don't fit in it very well.
If it came out today, it would look like a normal car. It would probably have bigger wheels on its stock and a few other things, but the actual design of them is, look at that. Look at it.
I love it. I love the design. I just don't know enough about it. I haven't spent much time in one. That's my biggest downfall. And there's a lot of people that love them, and there's some people that dislike them. They are still very pricey. I think in the States you could pick up like an FD-RX-7 running for about $15K, 12 to 15K or more, Dan?
Very pricey. They're very pricey to insure because they're considered an exotic, and parts are really expensive and hard to find.
Exotic, really?
I'm not kidding you. It is considered an exotic.
Oh, okay.
Of all of the Japanese cars that have come over here, they chose that one as the exotic. Mm-hmm. So if you're looking at it from an insurance standpoint, it can cost you a lot of money. My friends get hurt with it. I've seen a lot of
Super 7 says the FD equals lightweight, supercar killer, best interior feel. Let's look at this. Let's look up statistics on this. Let's see and when you say supercar killer, let's see how much horsepower the FD-RX-7 made from the factory.
Can we get this? Is actually going to be an interesting point, especially with the cars that are on this list. Can we get a shot of the interior, the stock interior of the FD-RX-7?
Yeah, let's get that.
Someone mentioned that, and this is a thing. I think personally, Mazda is I don't know underrated, but I think Mazda is so underrated when it comes to a lot of these, like the interface between human and car.
Right.
They put so much more effort. As far as the JDM, I mean, probably European designers have an edge on this, but yeah, that steering wheel is kind of bad. Like I'm talking about, like the JDM style non-airbag wheel, anything like that. It just looks so nice. Everything is smooth and round. And as someone who, one of the things I hate is banging my elbows on hard edges and banging myself on things and being able to comfortably put my hands anywhere in the car. The RX-7, the FD-RX-7 is probably one of the best of that. Everything is where you expect it to be. Like when you go to put your arm down, the armrest is exactly the right height where it should be. You go to reach for a switch or anything, it's all in the right distance and height.
Yep, I would agree with that. I would definitely agree with that. And once again, you being a larger gentleman, I didn't fit in it very well. It's a very tight compartment. It's a very tight driver. But once again, it's a sportier feel. Everything seems from the driver compartment very firm Everything functions. It's not, once again, those short gated shifters where the thing is, it's very functional and very usable. It makes about 250 to 260 horsepower from the factory. So once again, you're in that 250 horsepower range, which you can look at a few cars that come out. The SR20 is right around that horsepower range. Still, large aftermarket for this car. Just they're pricey. They're getting very, very hard to find. I don't know if that affects the overall ranking of this thing. I think it's a great handling car. A lot of people, the tunability, there's just so much to the FD-RX-7. I just don't have that much experience. But everything that you've said, Alexi, I totally agree with, just from the little time that I have spent in it.
For me, what it is the styling of it. I just love the way it looks and the interior feel and all of that. I just love that.
The ergonomics,
I really like the way everything is put together, and I'm sure it's a great. I've never driven one Spirited, like never had the chance to drift one or like really get after one on track, but just driving it on the street, I always really like the way they feel.
So let's do this. We'll have our own decision where we want to, but chat. Let's get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in chat. Where do you think this FD-RX-7 should be ranked on the list? Once again, I think uniqueness, the stylization, the ergonomics, the tunability has something to say. Is it more enjoyable than the S-chassis or Corolla? Does it fit between them? Where would you put RX-7 on the list? I think there was a lot of valid points that built up. Supercar killer? Probably not. Probably not right out of the box. 250 horsepower is going to have a hard time unless it's an old Ferrari 360 or something. Then you might give it a run for it.
Unless you consider an NSX supercar.
Yeah. Okay, so chat's rolling in. We got a bunch of 2s right out of the get-go, some 4s, some 1. We got a 7. Never let off put a 7 in chat. That is 2, 5, 4, 5. Man. I like how people are saying put it anywhere 1 through 5. Anywhere 1 through 5. Get it on the list. 4, 3s, 2s, 4s, 5s.
Yeah, owning an FD would be a fairly big commitment in many ways.
How do you feel? And even going over to Hoonigan bonus channels, chat, we have not forgot about you. There's a lot of 5s and 4s in bonus channels. Seems like we have 2 different walks of life here. Main channel is saying 1, bonus is saying 4s and 5s. 4.
I would say 4.
There's a few people saying 1, but
and this list,
be 1.
This list will change. It may change once we start debating, because once we have the list organized, we can start organizing this top through bottom. All right, 4, chat. We're gonna look for 4. Final answer. Let's lock it in. Chat, you guys have spoken. Bonus chat, you have spoken. 4th spot for the RX-7. This is not the official list. This is just getting them placed to then start battling for the top position. So now we're down to the 2 gladiators, which once again, we've seen them in every Fast and the Furious. We've seen them hanging in walls in high schools, and probably when you're a young kid, you have this poster right next to your bed of the Skyline or the Supra. You've seen it in any and every JDM video you can possibly think of. When we think of JDM stateside, these are probably the 2 cars that come to the list right away.
You just want to get it over with real quick and put the Supra in 5th?
I think we should probably organize them fairly quickly and start arguing the points, because I think
I've been arguing in chat already.
So Dan, you're saying Supra 5th?
Yeah.
Give us 2 points. You give us 2 points. Give us 1 good, 1 bad, and we'll go. Alexa will give us 1 good, 1 bad, and I'll give us 1 good. So Stan, start off. 1 good, 1 bad.
1 good.
Yep.
2 crazy. 1 bad. Straight lines. That's it. It's not going to handle on track.
Alexi, Supra, 1 good, 1 bad.
Oh, I have to follow up on that. 1 good. It just has that fighter jet interior that when you just sit in there and close the door, you're like, ooh, okay, we're going to start the pre-flight procedures now. Downside, a car has to be more than its drivetrain.
Yeah, well said. Well spoken. I think it does have. What's
the interior is definitely one of my favorite interiors of all time.
What's that one? That tan one there with like a million gauges on it.
This is the pre-flight sequence right here.
Yeah,
this is
right.
this is your pre-flight sequence. You have everything from exhaust fluid meter. You have your blinker fluid meter. You have, I don't even know why you would have those many gauges.
Ring piece temperature and moisture.
One's a radio station knob, probably.
You have a TV player over here. It's perfect.
So if I were to pick one good and one bad about the Supra, I want to say, Dan, you did mention the JZ, and I think that is obviously the best thing that's came out of the Supra is the drivetrain, except now the R154 costs more than the engine itself. I want to say the styling. I really do believe the styling is still a modern looking look and feel to the Supra. I love the Supra styling. Okay, that's gonna be my positive since he took the JZ. I still love the styling of the Supra, but when the thing looks good and weighs as much as the Titanic, I think that's the downfall, is that it's a massive tank of a car. The weight is your biggest downfall. Even like looking at some of these guys who are gutting these things down to bare bones, still weighing more than almost, than some of the cars on grid is. That
is partially due to the drivetrain. So,
the cast iron inline six.
There, like I just.
But look at but once again, the RB. Look at the RB in the Skyline. Cast iron inline six. There's still a lot of cast iron, but then once again, being cast iron, I still think the positive of that additional weight of not being an aluminum block, right? You could throw tons of boost at it. I would rather have that extra weight for that in the engine, but other than just the bulkiness of the car.
See, like, I guess in America, the only place that Supra had for me was just highway rollers. Just watching people destroy supercars on the highway, and that was it. Like racing sport bikes and stuff like that. That's the only place it's had for me. I've never really seen it on track, and I have seen it on track. I've driven one on track. I was like, well, this is lazy and just kind of weird. Didn't handle it in any way like the way I wanted it to. So it wasn't as responsive as I'd like it to be. And the highway poles are where it's at because you just have raw power to just shoot you forward.
Let me just say this. With some subtle aero changes, the Supra looks good. You could literally put wheels on it. Like, look at this one right here.
That's a horrible example for me. I hate the way that looks.
I don't mind it. I think it looks good, but
I'm more of a factory trim kind of person, I think, and I like the way the shape.
Here, let me do this.
Yeah.
Let me open that.
That's way better to me.
What about this one right here?
Yeah, I like that one.
I like, but that's what I'm saying is it's, to me, it still looks like a monster, man. It looks.
No, I can't argue for the new one, right? And I do. That looks good. I like that bike. I like the new one. I like the style of it. I think they've refined everything quite a bit, and I'm sure it performs a lot better on track. So the new A90, I think, has more potential than the Mark IV, and that's in on that.
Happy Supra, dude. The Supra always looked like it's smiling. How does that? You can't argue that. But going between these two, head neck to neck, I'm gonna put the Supra in fifth. That's where I'm gonna put it.
I think Alexi nailed it with the description there. Is saying
actually, you know what? I would
have to be more than just its drivetrain, and I agree with that.
Okay, let's do that. So let's put the. And I was even debating on putting the Supra in fourth and moving the FD down, but I would say fourth or fifth is Supra.
See, putting, like, we're talking about how it's so big and heavy. If you look at the wheels on it, the 17-inch wheels that came on the 80 Supra, the early ones compared to the early wheels, the later model wheels on the had these little extra bits of metal, like triangular bracing around the bolt holes to stop it from cracking. Like, that's how big and heavy that is. They had to actually they had to make a different model of wheel. I actually have some stacked over there. I have a different model of wheel to prevent them from cracking around the bolt holes. So yeah, it's a big beast. So if you were to organize this list, Alexi, would you put the Supra down at fifth, or would you want to maybe shift it with something? You think you may need to go fourth? I would put it in fifth. There's a nice space there for it where it should go.
So you put a like in between 3.5, maybe.
No,
Yeah.
put it in fifth.
And
You know
then
what the Supra is?
Lines at 83rd, 9th is what he's looking for.
what is a Supra, Lexi? And a
You
lot
know
of
what
people. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, if we're talking about the Supra is it's the hot friend. It's the tank character. Like, it's not the main character. It's not the main thing, right? It's kind of min-maxed in some ways, where it's like, yeah, it's useful sometimes, but it's not the main character. It's over
Right.
on the side a bit.
The
It's
side
not
piece.
the main one. Yeah, well, it's well, not this. Well, but it's like you have the main character there with the sword, and it's like the hero, and it's the barbarian off to the side, which is kind of like with an axe, like it's not small, light, fast. It packs a punch, but it's not the main. It's not first.
It's okay. I can see that. It's not the hero. It's always the wingman. The Supra is the Robin to Batman. It's always the I'm here.
Yeah. Well,
let's put it the Hulk to Iron Man.
Hulk, yeah, there you go. It's the Hulk to the Iron Man. There you go. That's a good one. Yep. I mean, look at the design of it. Even just the headlights on it, those the horizontal spotlights. It's a Le Mans car. It's a touring. It's a long distance. Gets the job done over 12 hours sort of car. It's not quick. It's fast. It's like you said, Dan. You're driving the track. It's like slow down. Okay, next corner. Like, that's what it is. It's a long distance. It'll win over a long distance over endurance, but it's not like that little, get in there and get the job done, because we don't have 8 hours to drive a car. We have like maybe on our way to work, we have that one corner on the way to work. Oh, let's take that back road. That's all we have. We don't have time for that.
All right, so Supra down to 5th, and then automatically that leaves Skyline number 1. Now, I think this is going to be the debate for the Skyline, Alexi. This is, and Dan, you guys have the most time in this. You guys obviously spend time in Japan, or still currently live in Japan, or own one of these cars. But everybody, when they think of Skyline, automatically goes to the R34. When we literally put Skyline on the board, everybody's like, R34, best car in the world, R34. How would you compare an R34 to like an R32 and R33? And is there an enjoyment difference between each car? Is there different driving experiences? Would you prefer the R34 in certain occasions than the R32 in certain occasions? But when you look at Skyline, what make, model, which one stands out to you the most? What is the Skyline to you?
Which one of us you ask?
Anyone. Any one of you guys. This is open. Dan, if you want to go first, I'm sure Alexi's going to have a good tangent on Skylines.
Well, like, I personally like the Skyline because of its diversity. I mean, there's different models, and everybody that was in chat was arguing, hey, it's super expensive, but really it's not, depending on what model you're going for. And I mean, you can get a 32 4-door and have that style, or GTR if you're really going to go track, or just going to show off. So the 32 has quite a good range, and I think the 33 is very forgotten about. And I actually like the 33 a lot, but the 34 is what a lot of us see over here, because we never had the Skyline available to us. All we saw it in was Gran Turismo and stuff like that, and that changed our minds. So that's what you always see. But the realistic part of it is that you can change it up. You can change it into a drift car. It doesn't have to be all-wheel drive. It can be rear-wheel drive. And you can change out S-chassis parts to it, and there's your argument for its tunability. And I think it was kind of ahead of its time for everything as far as what we were comparing. If we were to compare the Supra versus this, it's the Hulk versus Iron Man. This had more technology into it. It was, Iron Man was a little bit more well thought out. And it's just a lot more fun I think the experience of it to me is a lot better. The first time I drove a GTR, I was like, wow, this is crazy. And this is relatively recent. And, driving new cars these days should be much more advanced than what has been back in the day. And driving one of those was like, this is definitely ahead of its time. So I think it's a really cool car. You can get it cheap. The styling is beautiful on almost any platform that they've put out. I would put it pretty high on the list.
Alexi, R32,
Wow.
R34. Break it down.
Okay, so the first time I ever saw an R32 GTR was, let's see, I was probably about maybe 12 or 13 years old, if I got my year right. And I used to go to church every Sunday. And I came out of church on Sunday, wearing my nice little, shirt. And I saw this car come around the corner. It was this gunmetal gray R32, and they only imported 200 of them into Australia because they did run in the Bathurst series in Australia. So Nissan Australia brought out 200 of them. I saw this thing come around the corner. It was like it wafted past fairly quickly, but it was all stock wheels, stock everything, and it made that sort of choof sound that R32s make. I was like, "Whoa, what is that?" That's like, it's like a. And I remember the thought I had in my head was, it's sort of like an executive supercar. Like it's wearing a suit, but it has a machine gun sort of thing. Like that's what I thought.
Right.
Like I had this immediate impression. I thought, okay, it's not like it's not some, sports car. It's not like a V8. It's not a supercar. It's just something in between. And wow, that's really cool. I really remember that. So the 32, here's the image of they have in Japan. So the 32 is like the word, I think in Japanese, the word in Japanese is yancha. It's like punk or looking for a fight. Right, it's the car that, like, if you're out there looking for a fight, that's the car that you have. It's the smaller one. It's lightweight. It's the one you're gonna get into more trouble with. That's what the 32 is. The 33, it's kind of in between. You probably see those the least driving around on the street. As far as the amount sold, 32 sold the most out of the 32, 33, 34. We're just talking about GTRs here, though.
Right.
Sold the most. So you do see 33s driving, but you on the street, you see 32s, 34s driving on the street the most. You almost never see 33s driving around for some reason. I don't know. Maybe because people who drive 33s don't care about having an image. Maybe they just want the GTR for, they're not trying to drive to the expressway parking area and show it off, because if there's a 32 and a 34 parked next to it, everyone's going to look at either that one or that one.
Right.
And with the 34, that you do see those probably the most if you drive around on the highways here, because people who want to drive around and be known for driving a Skyline are going to get the 34 because it's the newest one. It's the rarest. It looks the coolest, arguably. It's got the most road presence, arguably.
Yep.
There's a lot more options of those for higher spec models, like the 32 through 33 you got the V spec 2s and that sort of thing, but 34s you got like the news and all this sort of stuff. So there's a lot more rarity as far as that car goes. So that's sort of the range, and I think that's probably fairly similar to overseas, even though a GDR is probably fairly rare in many places, but that's the image they have here.
So after driving a few of them, Alexi, obviously you have the beer can Skyline. What's your take on? And I know that one's kind of I don't want to say missive, but it's definitely a fun party car that you have.
Yeah. I have an R32 GDS-T, which I keep at ABC Circuit, and I didn't buy that car because I wanted to buy that car. I just bought it because it was cheap and available. And it's just been such a good car since then, for all the reasons that a 32 is good. It has the RB20 engine, which is it's a 2-liter straight six. But the best thing about them is, unlike the SR, you can absolutely rev them to red line all day, and they're fine as long as you're not making too much power. There's various problems that come up with the high power engines. Can I talk bad about it for a second?
Talk bad about it.
32s are not they're not an easy car to drive well, especially like with drifting and also just with regular driving too. They are very, very front heavy. You have to get used to that. If you're used to a Silvia or anything like that, where it's got that kind of balance in the middle where it kind of rotates around the middle, the 32 is very front heavy. You have to steer it more with your right foot than you do with the steering wheel. So I don't think as a drift car and as a sort of a track car or driving it spiritedly, I don't think the 32 is a very good car because you have to drive it more with power than other inputs. Like, you have to sort of brake into the corner very well and accelerate out of the corner very well. You can't really do a whole lot with the steering, which I guess is not really a good thing as far as learning how to drive well or driving well.
Right.
On the other side of that, though, you can rev the hell out of it.
Yeah.
And you get that feeling of like, yeah, this is awesome. I can go to red line. Woo! That's what they're good. That's what they're good for.
So with all that being said, I think the Skyline, the engine packages in the Skyline, the RBs, very capable.
Let's not forget the R32 GLXi. The absolutely lowest version. Some of them came with diesels, some of them came with 4 cylinders. The CA18 or whatever.
Man,
the CA18i, I think it was.
But and those are all cosmetically the same, right? It's just the power plant that's different in each one.
They look. I mean, they have different body kits, the bumpers, and
some of them are pretty ugly.
Yeah, dude, look up. If you look up the R32 GLXi, it's got fender mirrors and hubcaps. It looks terrible.
R32 GLXi. We'll
see that. I like that. I like that 33.
You like the 33? Hert's been saying that he wants to get R30, or it's the R33's been growing on him.
Let's stop talking about it because I don't want to drive up prices, but I do definitely want one.
An R33. And guys, as we start getting into the debate of organizing this list to make a final list, once again, let's give a big shout out over to MagnaFlow. Exclamation point MagnaFlow in chat. Go to their website. Go to Instagram. Once again, side-by-sides, motorcycles, or build your own custom exhaust calibers. All carb legal outside of the motorsports performance exhaust, but it's all labeled, all specific right there on the website. MagnaFlow.com. Find an application that fits your car and add a little bit of noise to your street car, or get a little more performance out of it. But MagnaFlow offers a wide range of products to help you do whatever you're looking to do to make your car the way you want it. And then obviously Falcon tires, we have the Wild Peaks right there. Dan just put them on the FJ. We are getting ready for Grid Life Alpine Horizon. It looks like it is still happening as of right now, and hopefully the boys can go out there and shred some Falcon tires off their car. And if you guys are going to be out there, or if it's even open to the public, make sure you guys come over to the Falcon Tire Rig, say what's up to the entire crew. But once again, another street car application, off-road, side-by-side. They offer a wide range of motorsports or street tires. Exclamation point Falcon in chat. So without these guys, the stream team wouldn't exist, and we wouldn't be sitting here with the amazing Alexi Noriaro. So
there was just a shot just before of a GTR at Rudskogen, which is the track that they use for Garterville, driving around there. Yeah, and I'll say that the first time I think I had probably ever heard a MagnaFlow exhaust tire was it JR who was sponsored by? I probably should have fact-checked this before. It was.
Well, he was.
I heard he had on the Thursday he did a promotional video with MagnaFlow at the track when I went to Garterville. He had his Mustang there. And it was probably, I remember thinking, man, this is one of the best sounding V8s I've ever heard IRL. So there you go.
And they have noise restrictions. And they have noise restrictions out of Garterville.
They do. That is right. Yeah, there you go. A GLXi. That's the
it looks like an old Accord. It looks like a Honda Accord.
I want to ask you something. Else, Alexi, because I've been seeing a lot of R32s pop up. Those tail lights, like those smoked, those. Is those specific to that?
Yeah,
the GXI. So hold on.
No, those are the 4-door. Those are the 4-door lights.
Okay.
The 4-door taillights have that clear surround and smoked. The coupe have the Frenched look to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw those the tail lights, and I was like, man, those are. I didn't know it was specific to the sedan on that make and model.
Yeah, that's not a good look.
It's not. Yeah, it's not. So when people say I have a Skyline, yeah, it's a GXI actually Skyline. Yeah,
it's one of those parked sort of near where I live. I walk past it sometimes. It has the fender mirrors, and it probably, I don't know. It looks like it's just owned by an old person. They haven't driven it for a long time. It's about 2 years out of registration, and it has this. It's parked like on a typically very small Japanese street where they have this like chain that goes around the little, place where they park their car, and the chain is sagging down onto the hood and sort of scratching it. I'm like, I want to go in there and do you guys want to sell this? Like, do you want it anymore? But it's not a very good looking car. So I think this can help us appreciate how good, some of the GTRs can look when you see the standard ones looking like that.
Hubcaps on the Skyline.
So now that we know the GXI, should we take the Skyline off the list? All right, so Chad, this is where we start moving things around and creating our final list. Skyline is currently leading temporarily with the Nissan S-chassis as a whole in second, the AE86, the RX-7, and the Supra. Now that we had a chance to look at some of the cars, dig into them a little bit more, is there some ones that you would want to shuffle around? I'm looking at the RX-7 and I'm looking at the Supra, the RX-7, and the Corolla. Do I like the Supra in fifth? I would say I don't know if I like the Supra in fifth. I would almost like to see the Supra in fourth, because the RX-7 to me, once again, it's I don't even want to talk about price between both of them. I just feel that the drivetrain, I love rotaries. The 2Js I have two 2Js. I enjoy them thoroughly. The platform of the Supra, that's still being used in many forms of drifting today, competitively and amateurly. The RX-7s, I would say, are more popular in drifting in Japan currently, in like D1. Alexi, do you know how many FDs are being used?
I think there's a couple in FD in Japan. There's at least two. In D1, there's one, I think. Actually, I don't know about this season. I think they're all driving Supras this season, to be honest, or when they finally get around to it.
FD, Brandon Conley says FD should be number 2. Switch the Corolla and the Supra. So now, the Corolla and Supra. See, a
lot of Supra fans here.
Okay, let me ask. Okay, Dan, do you guys still have the what's it called, the donut? What's it called, the burn yard?
Yep.
Yeah.
Where you're sitting in front of the background. Does that still exist?
Yeah.
Okay, if you took a mint top level example of each of the cars that you see on this list here, line them up there, and said just put on Instagram, hey guys, we're having an open yard today. We've got a bunch of cool cars here. Just come by, check them out. Okay, for example, you have an R34 V-Spec 2 newer, a Toyota Corolla GT Apex Trueno, in the Panda, and I don't know what's the rarest FD RX-7, like the Bathurst or something like that, which I think was maybe only sold in Australia. I don't know. Just the rarest version, the best, the twin turbo JZA80. What car do you think? From having customers who've been to the shop there before and cars parked there and stuff, what one do you think would have the biggest amount of people standing around it taking photos, in your opinion?
We had a Supra day, and we were all guilty of standing around staring at them. And but I wouldn't say that would be I think the 34 would probably be the one that most people.
100% out here.
And just out here in California based, that's just the way I see it. And we can blame that with video games and stuff like that. It's one of the cars that you rarely ever see. And I would stand around the Corolla, but personally. But I think that the 34 would be the most popular. And even the rarest FD, I think you'd look at it for a second and walk past it.
So here,
unless you're rotary guys, and there's a lot of really heavy rotary guys that just want to stand there and talk about the rotary and not even the car. So again, we're talking about like the Supra sort of deal where if you want to talk about 2JZs, you stand by the Supra. If you want to talk about the rotary, you stand by that. But as far as the car goes, you're talking about a Corolla or the R34.
Are we talking?
That's so weird.
Are we talking factory form? Or are we talking like
We're talking factory. We're just talking about
factory
like sort of like a top level trim. Let's say at most top level factory trim with like a nice set of wheels and a
oh my god, it would be
lower.
R34 all day long in the Corolla all day long.
Okay.
Those would if in factory form, that would be the facts. But I was going to use the battle. I was going to use the David Mazzi's 4-rotor RX-7 as an example of
obviously.
you know. So I know, but I'm just saying like the capabilities of the car and full build spec. The RX-7 may be able to compete with the other two just based off of build trim, right? But if we're looking at factory form, 100%, if there's a clean Corolla there, factory eyeballs on it all day long, R34 all day long.
So weird.
What would it be on Japan, you think?
Probably the same. Look, see, here's the thing about the Corolla. Like, I've noticed this especially from the YouTube side of things. Okay, let's go off a slight tangent here.
Yeah.
So, you know, people in chat say, video games have, popularized a lot of cars. You've got the, Gran Turismo. Like, it was everybody's most people's first impression of a GTR, of Skylines, and all these sort of, these Japanese models. It probably helped that they were some of the best performing cars in the game. You put that stage 4 turbo and wall ride around the track, and you're doing fine, right? So there's that, but there is. Okay, so I originally did this video of an Itasha car show, which, for those who don't know, is those cars that have big stickers of anime girls all over the side of them. For some reason, Lil Uzi Vert started doing it recently.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, right. So it's sort of a thing there. So it's become more of a popular thing now and well known. People are starting to be more accepting of that sort of thing. So I went to one of these car shows in Tokyo with like the biggest car show, which is it was the entire Odaiba car park, the one where they have D1 Grand Prix, used to have D1 Grand Prix. It was full of these cars. I walked around. Now, this is back before I realized how much of the audience liked and knew about this sort of stuff, or were interested in sort of the Japan, like anime girl waifu sort of side of things. I tried to keep it kind of low key. Like, I know a lot about that stuff. I just like, this is that. Just talk about the cars as well. Try and keep it whatever. I had no idea so many people who are into this sort of stuff. And this is my Venn diagram of things, not the Hoonigan side. There is a bit of crossover. There's so many people who are into that sort of Japan culture, anime, manga, whatever thing, as well as cars. And within that ball, you got the American side, which is the Fast and Furious. You got the Initial D, right? So many people think they know everything about cars because of Initial D. And as a result, so many people are like, A86 is the best car ever. Panda Corolla is the best car ever. As a result, that car gets a lot of hits whenever it appears in a thumbnail. So I specifically sometimes put the Panda one in the thumbnail just because it's going to get views. It's not clickbait because it's in the video. In Japan, it's a fairly similar thing. You'll have kids now who have maybe almost never seen a Panda Corolla IRL, who see it and will get like, I've seen this at a car park actually, where it was in a parking area on the expressway. I just happened to be going past, I was in my van, and there was a Corolla there with the Watanabe wheels, and this kid walks past, this little kid with his dad, goes, look, it's the tofu car. No one would ever look at a Corolla unless it had that sort of image attached to it, especially if they'd never really experienced it. And I don't want to say like, oh, it's a good gateway, because there's just so many people like, oh god, like when that A86 that I bought, which was actually an 8.5, I regret admitting that on the video. And people are like, dude, you're like that character Itsuki who got fooled into buying an 8.5 thinking it was an 8.6. It's like, no, dude, it's just a shell swap. It's like, it's got the disc rear end, it's the engine, it's all the same. Like, it's the different car. So and for the same reason I don't like Fast and Furious, in the fact that it's like, it's just kind of, no, that's wrong. Being a gateway thing, a gateway to culture, where it gives you, things that give you the opportunity to learn about a new thing.
Right.
I mean, we've all got that story, right, where we saw some dude in his Chevelle floor it down the street. I'm trying to be relate to an American. Or you saw that first, that, you know, whatever, some dude run limiter on a Civic, you know, down the street, like, oh dude, that's sick. Like, we've all got, when you're in school, you know, you like a little kid, we've all got that story. You know, your uncle took you for a ride and he's whatever around the block. So at the Christmas party, when he's like, are you okay to drive, Uncle Rob? You've had like 3 beers. Like, no, it's fine. Don't worry about it. There's no one's out right now. We've all got that story, right? The Corolla is that gateway for a lot of people, I think. And it continues, it takes a culture that is already there and it drags it over to cars. And, you know, maybe they run, if you're just running bolt-ons and you have anime girls over, that's fine, whatever. But it's still part of it. And the Corolla, surprisingly, is a huge aspect of that. Thing.
I think
bring that tangent back.
Just spitting on that, actually, another tangent is seeing that when I was a kid, I saw a whole bunch of Corollas. I know I did.
Yeah.
Saw a shit ton of them. And I never looked at it. And was like, wow, that's a cool car.
Oh.
The gateway,
yeah, right.
The gateway for me was definitely Initial D, right? And I didn't know it until I followed into that and started to buy into, oh, wow, this car is actually probably pretty cool. But I do remember the first time I saw a Supra, and I was like, holy shit, I love that car. And I just remember seeing that as a kid because it's very rare to see. And we never got to see a Skyline, but that's what we saw in video games and stuff like that brought that elevation up to us. So that's why holding that standard is because somebody has shown you this, you know.
See, for me, my gateway was S13s, and my first drifting experience IRL was in Formula Drift in like 2004 or 2005. It was like one of the first years of Formula Drift, and I remember the amount of S-chassis that I saw there. And Alex Pfeiffer was in an AE86 Corolla, and that was one of the first Corollas that I've actually noticed and paid attention to. It was like, oh wow, these cars can do this. I thought they, you know, just being so unknowledged in that realm of that particular car. But for me, it was an S-chassis because at the time when I was looking at drifting, wasn't raised on Initial D, didn't know what Initial D was, other than just being exposed to Formula D at an early on age. But the S-chassis were kind of like the jam back in the day. So I was brought in on S-chassis, and after learning more, and I think I was chosen to learn more because I was kind of presented by that and such a form of motorsports that it was the only thing I wanted to know at the time. But it ended up growing on me. But I wish that we didn't have the diverse field that D1 had at that time, which I wish I would have gotten to that sooner, because that would have changed my whole perspective and thought process of these cars. And then later on in life, obviously Fast and the Furious, even watching YouTube videos starting getting more popular, and the access to the internet. That's when you started really digging into the culture and things like that. But with that being said, kind of just having that open tangent about what kind of got us in this, we have results from the audience on what they believe their list is. And starting from the bottom, they want the Supra in 5th, the S-chassis in 4th, the FD RX-7 3rd, the Corolla actually jumping up, and the Skyline still sitting at the top. So Jesse pulled it up there. Okay.
Is the FD having a bit of a renaissance recently?
Rotaries as a whole, I think.
Yeah, really come into it.
Okay, how much of this is because of YouTube?
I think a lot of it.
It's 90% because of Hurt.
Yeah.
It's like there's Rob, there's Mazay's new car, Hurt.
Right, yeah.
There's a lot of it because of YouTube, I think, and it's created a cool culture, I think.
Yeah, Rob Dom.
Yeah, it's created a cool culture. These guys they're diehard. They're really into. You know, when you're into it, you're into it. It's never been my thing, but I do like them. I do appreciate them. It's just not my thing.
Yeah.
So let's do this. Let's bring up the bracket real quick. Let's organize it as how the chat sees it. Let's just take a look at it. So Nissan is actually bumped down to 4th. Corolla is going to move up to 2. RX-7 is going to move up 1 spot, and now the S-chassis is sitting in 4th.
this being 2020, I don't feel terrible about this list.
Yeah.
As it is right now. I don't normally. I'd probably put the S-chassis much higher.
Yeah.
But it's 2020 now.
Well, I think that the popularity of the S-chassis has kind of gone down because it got so popular that everybody had it. And then you've seen every style, so it just got old to everybody.
Oh boy. Okay.
So they just want to see something new.
So here we go. We went from having 60 votes. Now we're almost over to 200. Now the list has changed once again. Okay. Here's what changed. Check this out. So now FD, chat believes, moves down to 4th. Corolla moves back down to 3rd. S-chassis sits in 2nd place. So we're almost back to our original call-out list. Chat, did we have your list right out the get-go? Is this what's happening right now? We're
the
gonna leave.
list is pretty good,
Dude. And once again, the criteria was street, the opportunities for performance from the factory, the opportunities to build it, the culture behind it. It was looking at it as an overall whole, and
Our current list right now, I only have one change to it on the list that I originally wrote out.
You would what would you change if you were to?
I had the Corolla in 2nd, the S-chassis in 3rd, and that was the only change to the current list that we have.
And Sean Kroon in chat says S-chassis is still too high. Chat it. Hashtag your list. Hashtag not my list. Let's drop it in chat. Let's see if we're getting close. I'm okay with this. I don't mind S-chassis in 2nd. I haven't spent much time on the Corolla. I want to say I'm confused.
Well, when you come out here, you're gonna have to drive it. It might change your mind.
I know. Chat, hashtag my list, hashtag not my list. Let's get it spammed up. Supra, not my list. Supra, please tell us why then. Not my list. It's so funny we're going off their list. Okay, there we go.
It's your list, but it's not my list.
Switch S-chassis with Skyline, says Grex. Not my list. The factory Celica. No BMWs. Dr. Dave says no BMWs, and the title is the best JDM cars of all time this week, and there's no BMWs. Hold on. Let me do the math here on that. BMW. When was the last time? Was BMW made in Japan, Alexi? Is that new?
It's on there.
There may have been a factory out in like Tochigi, but I don't know. I have to check. I'll have to check.
Well, and for the actions, I didn't talk much about the S15. We talked about the S chassis as a whole, and I think the S13 and S14, especially from the S14 and S15, very similar platforms. Very, very similar platforms, other than some subtle changes with design, and then went from a red top to a black top. But we generalize it as a whole because
can't be changed with suspension arms.
Yeah, literally, you could put upgraded suspension arms and brakes and everything else. FD should be higher. People are saying the FD should be higher. I think the Supra should almost pass the FD.
Buy stock in the FD right now. It seems to be the way to go.
Rotary anything right now stateside. Let's take a look at the list. Nissan Skyline S-chassis is 3rd. Let's go back to the list, guys. We're going to get ready to refresh results. Okay, it still hasn't changed. It is apparently a list. Skyline sitting in 1st, S-chassis in 2nd, FD-RX-7 in 3rd with 50 votes. Corolla got bumped down to 4th. The FD-RX-7 just passed the Corolla.
What? That makes sense.
What?
It makes sense. I understand our crowd here.
What are you understanding, Dan?
No, I mean like the FD-RX-7, everything in rotaries has been very popular. So at this day and age, like, dude, 5 years ago, this wouldn't be the same list. Actually,
no, absolutely not.
2 years ago, this wouldn't be the same.
No.
Yeah, Dan's 100% right.
Yeah, I don't think Rotary would be touching this. I think once people are seeing what they're capable.
Wow.
Yeah. So now you know how much influence a lot of people can have over the culture.
I think I'm going to buy an RX-7 next.
Do it. Alexi.
See, this is okay. So what I'm thinking about,
I gotta say it's fairly close though if you look at it.
So just speaking personally, over the past several 5 or 6 years or so. So I've for those who don't know, I'm married. I've got kids here in Japan. I'm turning 40 this year. Oh God. And so I'm in a fairly similar boat to like, Scotto and things like that. So I'm at the point now where it's like, okay, well, I can get back onto the YouTube and sort of get back into that and make it more of a regular thing and, plan it out and not just sort of, there's an event, just go to that and shoot. Like actually make it, plan it out. So there's like, you've got cars, they're all going at the same time. You can do this, that. And in that list has to be my JZX, the R32, an AE86, which I just bought as like a Corona car. And I was thinking about what was going to be the next car. I thought at least one more where I can round out the experience. Okay, what do I want to do? What options, what experiences are there in Japan that we can experience with a car? Okay, what does it have to do? We can go on some nice drives out into the countryside. Okay, we need to go to racetracks. Like I want to get my Fuji Speedway license. I want to get my Suzuka license. I want to drive on tracks like Motegi and stuff like that. Okay, what can we drive on there? Can't drive the 86. It's stuck at one track because it doesn't have paperwork and it's a piece of shit.
Right.
The Skyline stuck at Ebisu. It's the Ebisu car. Okay. JZX. It's set up as a drift car. It's got big long arms. Everything. I don't want to do 220 kilometers an hour in that car. It'll be too scary. I'm going to die. What else can we get? It's got to do that sort of stuff. But it also has to be kind of like I could drift it too, and some sort of sex appeal. Next car's got to be an FD.
There it is.
Yeah.
Hey, chat. Let's get some. Who thinks Alexi needs an FD? Drop it in chat. Let's get some hip hips for Alexi. I think that would probably be.
I already have like 2 non-running cars. What is this carcane thing? This addiction.
Yeah, exactly.
Good luck, buddy. And I'm over here struggling what car I should get, and Alexi already has a fleet right now, so I need to catch up to Alexi and her.
On my list of cars I've always wanted to own, the RX-7 is definitely on that list. I don't know where it sits on that list. Probably where it sits on this list, actually. Pretty close. But it is one that I've always wanted to own, but it's so hard for me to pull a trigger because there's so many other vehicles that I could get that I would have, I'd say, more fun with, because I think I'd take too much care of an FD. I think I would try and keep it too pristine other than driving the living hell out of it.
So guys, I think we, with that being said, looking at the list.
Corey,
yes,
do you have a minute? Can we talk about cars that people are mentioning in chat, which aren't on this list? And people are like, well, why isn't that on? Why isn't that on? So I personally, I already covered the fact that I don't think that any rally homologation or like track homologation cars should be on here, simply for the reason is they're just outside of that scope of things. No 22B, no GT4, none of that sort of stuff. Why? Look, a 22B and cars like that, it's just something different. It's a collectible. It's not it's a cool, it's an extra, you're collecting it and enjoy and showing it off and having it as part of your collection. I don't think nobody's tuning and racing, ST185s anymore. It's, if you have one, it's like, yes, it's the Carlos Sainz car, and you're going to make it beautiful. You're going to get all the good parts for it, and that's it. Okay, so that let's forget about that sort of stuff. GTAR, no, forget about that sort of stuff. Another thing too, people are saying, why no fair ladies, 370Zs and that sort of no Z cars. No. I'm going to be straight up, and I'll say this to any Z owner: you are settling for second best. Okay, settling. If you could buy an S15 for the same price, you would buy an S15. If you could 100%. Buy a Skyline for the same price, you would buy that. Nobody is buying a Z33 because it's their first choice. And if it is, well, God help you.
Oh, boy.
What?
Play the key of the trumpet. Yeah, sad trumpet.
Okay, yeah, they're cool. Yeah, it's got good torque, whatever. It looks okay. There's, whatever. No.
See,
anything else?
Why did you have to compare it to an S15? Because that's something we don't get. And I was actually,
if you could get one,
350. I would get one in 2 seconds. I have a Z33 on my list of cars that I need to get, just because I spent so much time in a 350Z that for us right now. Here's the thing: a Z33 out here stateside, Alexa, you can pick up for like $3,800 to $5,000.
Yeah, I get it.
And it's like, I would love nothing more to find an S14 or an S15 that is under $6,000 that is clean right now. They are so hard to get, but if I could find one.
Corey, I solved your problem. There's a company that makes the S15 dashboard. Just put that in your S14 and you have an S15.
So, is that easy? Well, I don't see the outside when I'm driving anyway, so you can do whatever
exactly.
as long as
you feel like you're in an S15, you own an S15.
Done.
Put that dash in
Problem
there.
solved. So with the debate, I can't even talk after that. Just tangent right there. Jesus. Debate today, Nissan first, S-chassis second, Mazda FD-RX-7 third. I'm going to hit one more refresh on this. The A86 just moved up to third place. I like this right here.
Oh.
And I'm going to leave it as that. Do you guys agree? Alexi, Dan, would you leave it as this based on results?
I'm not mad at it.
I'm okay with it. As a total, as a holistic total of everything involved, I'm good with that. I think this is it looks like the sort of garage you'd have when if you have a video game. These are the sort of cars you have in there.
This is it.
If I
opened up Forza right now, this is pretty much.
So guys, here's our next conversation. Then Alexi, next time you come on, is what about the most underrated JDM cars of all time?
Underrated. Okay, so
that should be some the Starlet. What about the Starlet?
That needs some research done, like some actual
there needs
points and.
I'd say the High Ace. The High Ace. That's the most underrated vehicle.
The MR2. Is that another underrated one?
No, have you ever driven one? They're impossible. I love them. That's actually it's really high on the list of cars I wanted to own as well as the MR2.
The Starion.
But have you ever driven one? Once you lose it, there's no coming back.
It's a squirrely machine.
Absolute death trap. Yeah.
It is gone. Like
the Altezza.
No technique.
We should probably do a debate on something like that in the future. But Alexi, thank you for waking up so early. I literally once again I watched the sunset.
That window in the background has gone from being dark to bright. The sun has come up while I've been here. So.
Chat, hopefully you guys enjoyed today's best JDM cars of all time. The results, Skyline once again still taking the #1 spot with the S-chassis in second. The Corolla AE86 in third, the Mazda FD-RX-7 fourth, the Toyota Supra in fifth. Congratulations, chat. That is your list because we literally stole it from the polling.
I don't disagree with that. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm happy the FD is in the position it is.
The one thing I did learn from this list, Alexi, is it shows me that I need to drive more cars. I need to experience more cars. I need to spend more time at an 8.6. I need to get my hands on a Skyline and just experience a little bit more of the JDM automotive culture. For you, you're one of our only gateways to experience that. So thank you for showing everything that you do, and hopefully there's a lot more coming from your channel. Which mods, if we can get Alexi's channel spammed in chat, go over and check out.
Thank you. I'm up to. I actually hit 450,000. I just noticed on my little counter here. Yeah, 450,000 subs. I'll be at 500,000 soon. Yay! I'm popular. Definitely. So now that getting all the life and family stuff.
You want 500,000? Hold on. You want 500,000? Go get that FD-RX-7.
Bang! Sold.
I can't afford it right now, but I'm just. Look, it's been. I haven't actually here. Oh, actually, look. I don't know. I have a. This is. I'm just going to show it quickly. This is my list. It says car plans on it, and let's see. Did I write RX-7? Yes. Oh, by the way, so here's the. Here we go. Let me fold this up. It says potential cars, and what I've done is I've written out a list. Potential cars, ideas for it, what it fulfills, and who I could potentially collaborate with. Now, let me read this out. RX-7 FD, because all cars have to have a name. Now, I got this. I understand. Look, you got Hoonigan, brilliant. All your cars have names. I think it's a great thing to do. You know, I've got the Beacon Skyline. The A86 is called the Beans 86. as in BEANS, because every time you try and write Beams engine, like BEAMS, it always autocorrects to beans.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was funny. So it's like, it's the Beans 86 now because it's like, yeah. So it would be called the RXE.
The RXE.
Alexi. RXE.
RXE.
All right. RXE. What can I do? And this is actually written here. I can do RX-7 day events. I can do rotary only events. Here's what I've written. It could be a slammed hot boy car like Hurt. That's what's written here. Slammed hot boy car like Hurt. Dorito noises. Collabs 326 power REM Mimir. I want to put an REM Mimir rear on it. I like the REM Mimir.
Yep.
Fulfills what it fulfills. The things it fulfills. Hot boyness. Noises. Cool. But unfortunately, in a circle, I've written expensive.
Yes.
Yes. That's exactly true.
There you go. So that's one of the cars that's on my list.
A Alexi and a hot boy car. What color would you go? Would you do like a black, a white, a silver?
No, my first car I bought when I was 18 was a Series 2 RX-7, like the original.
Hold on.
An FB. Yeah.
Hold on, I'm gonna have Chad do something. What some other things should be highlighted on Alexi's list? Some negative things for the FDRX-7. Somebody already put. You should put a hard to maintain and circle.
Yes,
it.
smelly.
Yeah. What else? What other should be on Alexi's list for the FDRX-7s? Go ahead. Sorry, Alexi. I didn't get that.
Good or bad. I think. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, look, RX. They sound small.
Yep.
Sore back. I guess. Burns oil. Rat's nest. I'd probably get rid of the air conditioning and all that sort of stuff on it. Rear diff. What is the rear diff? Is it bad? Oh, they do crack. Yeah, that is true. I don't fit in it. That is a bad thing. Yeah, I one time when I drove an RX-7 here and it had a full cage in it, and when I got out, the owner actually started laughing so hard watching me trying to get out of his car. He could barely pull out his phone to take a video of me getting out of his car. I was just trying to like. Remember the scene in Ace Ventura when he's trying to get out of that, he's in that
the rhino's butt.
The rhino's butt. Yeah, that was me trying to get out of the RX-7. See, who said this? Super 7 said 2-stroke on 4 wheels. He's saying that like it's a bad thing. That's the
not
best
bad.
Thing. That's the best thing.
I like how somebody says tow truck, because if you own an FDRX-7, you have to own a tow truck too.
Gotta be friends with someone who owns a tow truck. So,
man,
yeah.
Let's
Well, my first car was an RX-7, and it was like a sort of a sky blue, like that metallic sky blue. So I'd probably paint it that nice metallic blue, like that like a light blue.
Okay.
I like blue cars.
That would be nice. Blue would also look nice in a big beautiful thumbnail, Lexi. Just put a black silhouette over with the question mark.
Oh, come on, man.
Binding. That's sensitive.
What car did I buy?
Chat, thank you guys all for tuning in once again. Bonus channel, thank you guys for hanging out. You guys, we're looking to do some migration here soon, and we did a great explanation at the beginning of the stream on what we're looking to do with the future. But you guys have spoken. You guys want the stream to stay alive. The rest of the Hoonigan crew, Hurt, Teague, Nad, Scotto, they're all filming off-site, bringing you guys some new main channel content. And with main channel being flooded out with a bunch of new episodes, a new series coming up, we're going to be possibly moving the live stream over to Hoonigan Bonus. So we did a test today. So for everybody watching on Bonus, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Everybody watching on main channel, hopefully we move over. You guys all come with us. It is going to be a big party over there, as we're going to be looking at IRL stream integrations and a lot more live content, as well as having the OG 1010 produced Hoonigan stuff. We got to give a big shout out to Magnaflow, guys. Go show some Magnaflow love on their Instagram and on their website, ! Magnaflow in chat. One of the best performing exhausts, as well as one of the best sounding exhausts on the planet, as well as sending some love over to Falcon Tire. Once again, just head over to the Instagram and say, thanks for the live stream. Thanks for you for the Hoonigan live stream. Just say something over on their Instagram, guys. We appreciate it. We have a bunch of crazy projects in work with Falcon. They support some scumbags, and we support them. So thank you. And then obviously, Alexi Noriaro hit 450 subs. You guys scumbag done to buy an FDRX7, so hopefully we'll be finding them in a beautiful blue metallic FDRX7. Guys, chat, everybody, thanks for the votes. We found our list. And on that note, guys, see you in Discord. Stay up to date with everything. And we'll see you tomorrow. Adios.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.